should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better.
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. It's so good to see you. I am so sorry I was not here yesterday. We went to go get a Jeep. I have a Jeep now. I've wanted a Jeep my whole entire life, and now I have one, and it's a stick shift, and I haven't driven a stick shift since I was very young. So, it took us 3 hours to go there and 3 hours to go back, and then we drove it. I drove it around the yard a little bit yesterday, so I didn't have time to come live, but I did try to get that video out last night. Hio was live. I don't know if you guys were there. So I wanted to wait until she got done going live before I dropped that video. Thank you, Shelby. Good to see you. Glasses. Oh, here. Glasses. Okay. Thank you for being here, Shelby, Curious, Christine, Abraham, True Crime Butterfly. Good to see you. Can y'all believe I have the heat on here? I'm in Florida. You sound like my husband. I told him when we move, I'm gonna get him a space heater because he'll have me damn sweating, especially in the truck. Like he's like, "Oh my God, close the window," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm sweating. Like I'm gonna stink. What the hell?" Lorianne, good to see you. Rachel, good to see you. Percy, good to see you. Southern Cats, good to see you. Abellis, good to see you. Mustang, you too. Sun Clear, good to see you, my love. Orange Rose, Stephanie Garrett, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Curious Christine, it's good to see you, my dear. AJ, good to see you, love. Snarky Pants, good to see you. Angela, good to see you, my love. Hannah UK, good to see you. Happy hump day, happy hump day. I'm so glad y'all are here. A Jeep come true. Yes, I really like it. I think it's a 91. We bought everything. We bought vehicles used because we had just finished paying on his Dodge Ram, like and like 2 months later it was no good. The Dodge Rams have issues, so that issue happened and we were like, yeah, we're going to buy it outright. So it was nice. Salty Sleuth, good to see you. Said true Floridians aren't built for cold. Hey everyone. Hello my dear. Rhonda, good to see you. Ciao, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right, so I apologize about not being live yesterday, but I greatly appreciate y'all understanding that I had a lot going on. We were kind of four-wheeling in the backyard with it, playing around. Very interesting. I'm super excited. All right, so we have quite a few things to talk about. We did miss you, Chow. Um, we covered the flooding at Camp Mystic quite a bit. We have an emoji to remember the children that died there. Some have still not been recovered, from my understanding. But there was some new information that came out about that. I've got a couple of articles to go over with you guys, and then we're going to talk about some videos that I have found. Good morning, Miss Woozy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you all so much for being here. This article I saw when I was getting ready to come live says that families are suing Camp Mystic over the deadly July 4th flash flood and they allege gross negligence. So I was very curious as to what's going on here. It was a horrible tragedy. The flash flooding in Texas took the lives of campers, young girls who, I mean, among other, there was a lot, animals, people. It was horrible. So you did? I know that you've been covering some of the same things I have. If y'all, I did put in my post yesterday saying I wasn't going to be here to definitely go watch Salty Sleuth, and I got into into the beginning of her live as I was driving, and I was definitely listening. A lot of interesting things that she talked about over there. So y'all make sure you check her out too. Our emoji's not there. He might have removed it. I hope not though. Our emoji did what? That's weird. I'm gonna have to talk to Hio and see if she knows anything about it, because we did have an emoji for Camp Mystic. Lola, good to see you. So happy to come share time with you too, love. Hey, Karen, good to see you. So I'm concerned about this. It was a tragedy, but if it could have been avoided, then we need to know why and what happened. here is a memorial that they have put up to remember the young ladies lost specifically at Camp Mystic. I do want to keep in mind everybody that was lost that day, July 4th of this year. Under the photo, it reads Comfort, Texas, July 6th. A search and rescue volunteer holds a T-shirt backpack with the. That's not the right photo because we've seen that photo too, where they were holding the Camp Mystic backpack. So it says the families of several campers and counselors who passed away at the July 4th flash flood at Camp Mystic have filed a lawsuit accusing the Hill Country Camp and its owners of gross negligence and reckless disregard for safety. Goodness, I don't know if I can speak today. The suit filed in Travis County District Court seeks accountability for what the plaintiffs describe as a, quote, entirely preventable tragedy, unquote, that killed 27 girls and counselors. Located along the Guadalupe River in Hunt, Texas, the camp has long operated in an area known as Flash Flood Alley, the lawsuit claims. I think this is a video on it. Okay, so we'll see what the news has to say about it.
It's been more than 4 months since the deadly flooding at Camp Mystic in the Texas Hill Country. Now families of some of the girls who were killed are suing the owners of the camp.
The families say it was a preventable tragedy. Jason Allen has reported extensively on this disaster and has our update.
Thank you.
When a swollen Guadalupe River rushed through central Texas on July 4th, 25 girls, their 2 counselors, and the director at Camp Mystic were among more than 130 people who died. Now,
I remember seeing this building and talking about it looks like it was built back in the day, kind of where they made buildings more sturdy, able to withhold more winds, damage, and things like that than they do now. So for that whole piece to be gone there, it really brings home the gravity of what happened out there. Very, very sad.
now parents of several of those girls are holding camp operators responsible.
This wasn't an act of God. This was an act of pure complacency.
Blake Bonner testified to Texas lawmakers in August that his daughter Lila paid the price for following an emergency plan that was destined to fail. One of the suits accuses the Eastland family that owns the camp of choosing to house young girls in cabins sitting in flood-prone areas. The suit highlights alleged instructions to campers to stay in those cabins when they easily could have walked to safety in a matter of minutes.
Now, the second part of that is concerning. The first part, I'm not very familiar, and I'll ask Uncle Google, but I think the flood before that had been like 150 or 100 years before that. So the fact that they were built in those places, I mean, I wouldn't think that it would be an issue. But the fact that they were ordered to stay in their cabins when they could have easily walked to safety in a matter of minutes is concerning. But the issue you run into there is that if there's not an adult there to make sure that they're going to the correct place or, you know, do a head count, make sure all the children are there, it could become an issue. I would need to know the time it took for the counselors to respond to get the girls out of those cabins and moved to safety. If it was an extensive period of time, maybe I could agree. I know that they had said something about it being an act of God, and that kind of upset me in the beginning because I don't think God planned to take a bunch of children's lives that night. That's just my thought on it. There was so many lives lost, and if it could have been avoided, that's a big problem for me.
After the first flash flood warnings were issued, the suit alleges rather than turning to the cabins, they convened the grounds crew and started securing equipment.
The actions of those at Camp Mystic are not the reasons that these young ladies died.
Michael Watts represents the Eastland family and Camp.
So they're securing equipment. I mean, I need to know why. Did you think that the equipment could get washed down and, like, if we're talking about a backhoe or something like that, that could get washed down and mow over a bunch of people, then yeah, I would be securing equipment too. But it seems to me like you would need to be having people doing all these things simultaneously. My neighbor's aunt and uncle were swept away out there. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Kane's Nana. I'm so sorry.
Mystic.
They never got warning that that level of flood was coming, and that was a function of the state of Texas.
Mystic is planning to open again next summer on a part of the property that did not flood in July. Summer camps are a deeply ingrained part of the community in Central Texas. We asked residents Lindsay Robertson and Elizabeth Schneider about the reopening plans when we went back to the region last month.
What was your reaction when the announcement came from
Me
Camp
too,
Mystic
Rachel.
that they would reopen next summer?
Joy. Relief, happiness, joy.
Robertson clung to a tree to survive the flood, while her son, Palmer, you in a tree, called out to a friend for help.
Oh my God.
The survival of the camps is important to recovery, they said, both for the community and for their own children who attended Camp Mystic last summer.
We've all lost a lot. And to get a glimmer of hope just brings us so much peace and joy.
I mean, but I don't know if they should be opening the camps already again either, just out of respect. Abraham said that they think the campers were safe in their cabins. I'm not sure. Hopefully not, because it seems like they would have taken them to higher ground. And I think some of the cabins that weren't in the path of the flood, they survived. And there was counselors that were seen taking children to higher grounds. I would think that's what they were asked to do, but I'm not sure. I'd have to pull the documents, and maybe I can.
Amidst the grief.
You feel like you can do those things at the same time?
Of course.
Jason
Yeah,
Allen,
I don't-
CBS News, Fort Worth.
I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. So the lawsuit claims Camp Mystic failed to adopt state-required evacuation plans and ignored weather warnings. According to the petition, camp leaders allegedly told campers to remain in their cabins and prioritized protecting property over human life. So there's the answer to that. Abraham, allegedly, they did tell campers to remain in their cabins. But I could see why. Like, I did the counselor and training thing at 4-H camp here in the mountains. I mean, you have to keep track of all the children. So you got to, yes, they would need to evacuate, but at the same time, you got to make sure you've got every child with you to evacuate. And that should have probably been done quicker if there was an option to do it any quicker than they did. I don't know. I'd have to see more from the documents. You know what I mean? Chloe's mom, good to see you. Finally getting out of work. That's awesome. It continues, those decisions the suit alleges led to the loss of 27 lives. Quote, these young girls died because a for-profit camp put profit over safety, unquote. All told, the destructive flooding in Texas on the 4th of July killed at least 136 people and washed away homes and vehicles, and that's not even counting the animals. Heavens 27, unquote. The families bringing the lawsuit include Warren and Patricia Bellows, Blake and Caitlin Bonner, Matthew and Wendy Childress, Ryan and Elizabeth DeWitt, John and Andrea Ferruzzo, Ben and Natalie Laundrie, and Lindsay McCroy. The parents of 8-year-old Eloise Lulu Peck have also filed a lawsuit against the camp. But I mean, that's quite a few families. So I would think to get that many people involved, then there's got to be some pretty heavy things that they feel they can prove, unfortunately. Banana Bottom, good to see you. That makes me upset that for that many families to file this lawsuit, for them to have that many people involved, that means that, yeah, there probably was some gross negligence going on, and that's not good. Curious said I was a camp counselor, but dang, I'm not going to let him perish. I would have done the thing that I thought best. Right. Exactly. Hey, Hio, where did our Camp Mystic emoji go? Do you know? Is it still there? The lawsuits are collectively referred to as, quote, Heavens 27, unquote. Quote, we carry the memory of our daughter in everything we do. This legal step is about honoring her and ensuring truth and justice for all the families affected, unquote, said Ryan DeWitt, whose daughter Molly was among the victims. Quote, we hope this case brings accountability and leads to better safety protections at youth camps, unquote. Quote, Camp Mystic failed in its most basic duty to keep children safe, unquote, Yetter said in a statement. Quote, this lawsuit is about transparency, responsibility, and preventing future tragedies, unquote. Quote, this was not an unforeseeable act of nature. What happened at Camp Mystic was preventable, and no parent should ever endure the pain of sending their child to a place of safety only to face tragedy, unquote, said Ryan Howery, one of the Peck family's lawyers. Quote, this lawsuit is about transparency, responsibility, and ensuring no other family experiences what these parents have suffered. unquote. The plaintiffs are seeking actual and exemplary damages and say they hope the lawsuit will lead to stronger safety standards for youth camps across Texas. CBC News Texas reached out to the owners of Camp Mystic for a statement, but have not heard back. And then here's where they responded. Jeff Ray, the legal counsel for Camp Mystic, released the following statement, quote, "We empathize with the families of the campers and counselors and all families in the Hill Country who lost loved ones in the horrific and unprecedented flood of July 4th. We intend to demonstrate and prove that this sudden surge of floodwaters far exceeded any previous flood in the area by several magnitudes, that it was unexpected, and that no adequate warning system existed in the area. We disagree with several accusations and misinformation in the legal filings regarding the actions of Camp Mystic and Dick Eastland, who lost his life as well. We will thoroughly respond to these accusations in due course," unquote. Camp Mystic parents successfully pushed for Texas to pass bills aimed at preventing similar tragedies. The measure aims to improve the safety of children's camps by prohibiting cabins in dangerous parts of flood zones and requiring camp operators to develop detailed emergency plans, to train workers, and to install and maintain emergency warning system. One allocates $240 million from the state's rainy day fund for disaster relief, along with money for warning signs and improved weather forecasting. That was a big thing in this, that the systems to warn people were not adequate at the time, if I remember correctly. Abraham said there needs to be a strict protocol for this. I'm sure there were dozens of prior warnings when nothing happened. It's very hard to evacuate that many kids once the water gets running. Yeah, and there was something about the warnings didn't go out, and then some people had their phones off because it was like 3:00 in the morning. Abraham continued, and if this had never happened before while the camp was there, it's hard to know which cabins were safe and which weren't. That's a big thing for me, because while it might have been in a flood zone, nobody expected it to do what it did that horrible day. And if that had not happened before, I think they talked about a flood once before, but I don't think it was Camp Mystic. I think it was a different camp. Not sure. Anders, good to see you, my love. Working long hours and it sucks, but I at least try to listen when I can. I've missed y'all. I do replay crew a lot. Thank you so much for that, Miss Paloas. Good to see you. You have glued with epoxy, have you? I think I have too, actually. I read one of the owners died trying to save the girls. That's really sad. Not sure if you read that already. I'm late. Yes, Dick, I think it was the owner of the camp died trying to save those girls that morning. The last part of the article reads, Camp Mystic plans to reopen in Texas next summer after the flood that killed 27. I don't like that. I think you should remain closed down until you fix everything that's wrong, get rid of all the molding. I mean, even if it's just out of respect for the children that were lost there. It reads, in September, less than 3 months after the deadly flood, the camp's owners announced plans to reopen the Cypress Lake location, which is separate from the part of the camp that flooded in July, killing 27 girls and counselors. The camps also announced that it would build a memorial to the girls who died in the flooding. Personally, that's not good enough for me. I think you need to give it some time, just out of respect. That would be my thought. The camp got an exemption to build in a floodplain. That shouldn't happen. That's really important to remember too. That's not good. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. Is it the kid that went missing camping in Idaho? No. Anders, this is Camp Mystic, where when on July 4th, when the flooding went through Texas and it killed a bunch of children. Salty said there were a lot of problems in this situation. They need to evaluate every element. Safety protocol should be their focus. Yep, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, that's a big problem for me. They got an exemption to build there, and that's not good. Okay, quickly, we have covered where. Oh my gosh, no, ma'am, not today, Satan, not today. Okay. Quickly, before we get into talking about some of these videos that I have, I wanted to give you an update on Austin Drummond. It's not anything real groundbreaking, but we've been covering the case. I know Anders likes to remind us that Austin has a bidet in his in his jail cell. So we got a little bit of information on that. Abraham said securing those heavy ass picnic benches often found in camp is important. If the waters pick that up and it runs into a cabin, it can increase the danger. And it can, like, that could mow over people trying to get out too and knock them unconscious, and then they would drown. It's just it's a lot. But if the safety protocols weren't what they should have been, then that needs to be addressed. I agree. Shelby said, what parent in their right mind would feel comfortable sending their kid to this camp anyway when it reopens? I think summer camp is important for children, but I don't know. I don't think that's enough time to evaluate, to show respect for the families, and to rebuild. It is a different part, but still. Rachel said, agreed with Salty. This is a very complex issue. Lots of changes need to be made. I agree. You're so funny, Abellis. Are they no, it's hold on. I moved ahead too fast. It is camp or Cypress Lake location, which is separate from the part of the camp that flooded in July, killing the 27 children. Driftwood in the coast. Yep. Many people go missing there. Okay, so we'll go back over to this. This is just a really quick update I wanted to share with y'all. Austin Drummond was indicted on the quadruple homicide, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. It reads, prosecutors are pushing for the death penalty for Austin Drummond, the man accused of the homicide of 4 family members in July, Fox 13 Memphis reports. A grand jury indicted Drummond for allegedly luring his girlfriend's family members to a location in Lake County and then committing their homicide. He's also accused of taking a baby from the 2 victims and leaving the child in a neighboring county's yard. According to Fox 13 Memphis, Drummond was transferred to the State Department of Corrections in October as he awaits trial. Fox 13 Memphis also reported his attorney has appealed the decision for the death penalty. So we'll see what the news had to say about it.
6:11 is the time here on this Tuesday morning. And new this morning, Tennessee prosecutors will be seeking the death penalty against the man accused of murdering 4 family members in West Tennessee. Now, a grand jury indicted Austin Drummond for the July murders. This happened yesterday. Prosecutors say that Drummond lured 4 family members of his girlfriend to a location in Lake County and killed them all. He's accused of taking the baby of 2 of the victims and then dumping that child in a yard in a neighboring county. Now, Drummond was transferred in October from the custody of the State Department of Corrections to the custody, rather, of the State Department of Corrections as he awaits trial. His attorney has appealed that decision for the death penalty.
So that was just a really quick update on Austin Drummond. Evidently, the last thing I'll cover quickly before we get into the main topics of the day, there is body cam now of Jacqueline Mimi Torrez parents being arrested. I did attempt to get that. They said that I need to send them money like through the mail. So I'm going to try to get a money order at some point and purchase the body cam footage from this incident and the noise complaint December 29th of 2024 when Jacqueline was quote unquote missing, but we now know that she was in a container and then somebody placed her outside of an abandoned house. She was malnourished and unfortunately abused. Somebody has body cam of it. I'll see quickly if I can find it. These are just little articles I click on when I get started, come to my computer to go live. Hey, Amber Nola, good to see you. And Dandy, good to see you. I still don't know what to believe about Austin. It's interesting. I watched a clip that said that, you know, we had talked about him putting feces on his jail cell window. And they said that there was a message written in the feces and it said, I want to speak to my lawyer. So that made it a little bit, that made me side-eyed a little bit, considering that he claimed to be a a snitch for the FBI, and that the jail he was supposedly snitching on the jail and how drugs and all of that were getting in. And we've looked at his Facebook countless times to show how that could very well be possible. I don't know what to think. Shelby said, I don't even get why the death penalty exists, because it ends up costing the taxpayers and government more money than just life in prison. Yeah. Somebody has BO. Mrs. North, good to see you. I hope you're having a good day today, too. So we can see this. It's analysis of body cam showing the arrest of mother and aunt in the Mimi Torrez Garcia homicide.
This new video shows Carla Garcia and her sister Jacqueline being arrested. They are the mother and aunt of Jacqueline Torrez Garcia, also known as Mimi. Police also released video that gives insight into the early stages of the investigation.
I just want to make you aware that you're not under arrest.
I know I'm not under arrest.
Okay.
I didn't do nothing. This video released by New Britain Police shows Carla Garcia at the police station the day Mimi's remains were found on October 8th. As you heard in the video, she was...
Oh, now it's going to do an ad. Don't be stupid. It's Fox 61 that released it. Hold on.
Not under arrest.
I know I'm not under arrest.
Okay.
I didn't do nothing. This video released by New Britain Police shows Carla Garcia at the police station the day Mimi's remains were found on October 8th. As you heard...
Planning Nana's birthday? Microsoft 365.
But thanks for asking. Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to find the whole body cam footage for us to look at briefly. Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay.
Arrest, but simply being questioned. On that day, police also questioned her boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita. Carla denied any involvement in Mimi's death. 4 days later, on October 12th, New Britain officers arrived at Carla's home to arrest her and her sister.
We can check, right? Is Jacqueline here? Your sister's here? Where is she?
It's on.
Yeah, just step out here. Step right here.
In the body camera footage, you can see Carla open the door. Officers then go and look for Jacqueline and put her in handcuffs.
Why? For what? Car.
We'll explain to you.
Can you grab my phone?
Yeah, we can grab your phone for you.
It's in the room.
While they arrested the sisters, officers also looked for Nanita in different bedrooms and closets, but he was not there. This set off a massive manhunt. Officers found him in Waterbury the next day. On Monday, we received video of his arrest where he denied any involvement in Mimi's death.
I didn't even do that to that girl, bro. I didn't.
All three are facing multiple charges. Carla and Jacqueline Garcia and Nanita are all expected back in court on Friday. In studio, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
I went to Fox 61 and thought I found it.
This new video
but it
shows
was,
Carla Garcia and her sister Jacqueline being arrested.
It was just the same thing. So I'm going to work on finding that. It's the minute and 46-second video. Let's see what this says. Of course, it's on my computer, so it's going to have ads. This one's 3 minutes and 29 seconds.
I didn't even do that to that girl, bro. I didn't.
We begin tonight with new body camera footage just released in connection with the death of 11-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torrez Garcia. Mimi's remains were found behind an abandoned home in New Britain last month.
Fox 61's Tim Latow joins us live in studio to break down the arrest of Jonathan Nanita, the boyfriend of the young girl's mother.
So, Tim, Mimi's remains were found behind an abandoned home in New Britain last month.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah and Brent. Now, you might remember Mimi's remains were found on October 8th. Her mother and aunt were arrested then 4 days later. Police then started an hours-long manhunt for Jonathan Nanita. According to the new body cam footage, he knew police were looking for him and he took off. What you're about to see is the moment officers tracked him down in a Waterbury neighborhood.
They said, get the hell out of that car.
Yes.
Hey, oh, stop screaming. Lord have mercy.
Body camera video shows the moment New Britain police officers took Jonathan Nanita into custody. At the time, he was wanted in the death of 11-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torrez Garcia. Police say she was abused and malnourished and died in the fall of 2024. According to an arrest warrant, Nanita is accused of disposing a box with Jacqueline's remains at an abandoned property on Clark Street in New Britain. Once police found Nanita just after 9 p.m. on October 13th. You can see in the video, officers put him in handcuffs, and in the takedown, he gets a gash on his forehead.
We'll call medics.
Nanita claims he was going to turn himself into police the next day and was...
Y'all, who believes that? Because I don't. They did Mortal Kombat his ass, and he got his poor little head scratched up, but he's wanted on a homicide charge of a child. I was going to turn myself in tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Right. Hey, Kalisa, good to see you.
Upset by the physicality of the arrest.
Listen, bro, you'll get checked out. Don't you worry about it. Come on, bro. Y'all didn't have to do that, though.
Sir, you're wanted for homicide of a little baby child. Come on now. Well, she wasn't a baby, but still, a little child. And you've been running. Stop it.
I was going to turn myself in. I didn't have to do that. Turn yourself in. Little late for that. Turn yourself
Amen to that.
in a while ago. I was gonna say I was.
The fuck?
That, man. I didn't even do that to that girl, bro. I didn't. I'm over here trying to clear my name. You'll have your time to talk, buddy.
Officers say Nanita knew they were looking for him, and he easily could have turned himself in earlier in the day when they were closing in on him in New Britain.
If you were going to turn yourself in, why didn't you stop in New Britain? Stop right when you guys came? In New Britain, when you guys came? Yeah, when we came. You're right there.
Look, they're pissed. So evidently they already had come and were on his ass, and he took off and got away somehow. And they're like, yeah, if you were going to turn yourself in, why didn't you do it then? What the hell? Did you hear me about our Camp Mystic emoji? Yeah, sorry to disturb your illegal activity, sir. Banana Bottom said such babies, when they get arrested, it's amusing. It took away a child, but can't handle a pair of handcuffs. It's really pathetic. And it is. It really is. Oh, I'm sure he thinks he can talk his way out of it. He's probably been able to talk his way out of a lot of things, especially with unsuspecting females, for a long time.
Nanita is then patted down, put in the back of a police car, and checked out by paramedics. He then asks an officer about his children.
My kids are.
He's safe.
So after this initial arrest, Nanita was later charged with tampering with evidence and disposal of a body. He's due back in court on Friday, along with Mimi's mother, Carla Garcia, and her aunt, Jacqueline Garcia.
He did get kind of fucked up, though. Looking at his face. She said, bullshit. Oh, as soon as I'm home, I'll see what happened. Okay. Thank you. I didn't see that. Yeah, that was a big old...
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Bullshit. He was going to turn himself in. Took off running. And then you get mad when they throwing your ass on the ground, making sure you don't run away again. Y'all didn't have to do that, though. Y'all didn't have to do that. Shut the fuck up. Yes, he committed the... Well, Jacqueline Mimi Torrez was taken out of school and supposed to be homeschooled, and then she was found outside of a house, deceased. She was living in the house with her mother, her aunt, and her mother's boyfriend. They found her, she was malnourished, had been abused, and had been missing for some time. She was put outside of an abandoned house, and that's when she was finally found. She had been kept in the basement before that for some time.
If you want to see more of the body camera video, we have it posted on our website at fox61.com. Live in studio, Tim Litt.
All right, well, fox61.com has that body cam if anybody's looking to review it for your channel or anything. I'm going to definitely check it out. Karen said he didn't have to hurt that child either, did he? Good point. I would have loved to see a matching one on that other eye, right? I like him too. If y'all don't mind, if you would please twinkle twinkle over to the thumbs up for me, or thumbs down, either way, it's interaction.
Come on, players, stop hating. Stop hating. Stop participating. Stop participating, Star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, baby. All right, we're going to jump over here because I've got a playlist together with a couple of things. I'm going to wait to go over the documents in the Michael Monkey Vaughan case. Y'all, I was reading that last night and it brought me to tears. I got a lot of questions, but we're going to do that at the end. There is more information in the Melodee Buzzard case, and there has been another woman to come out and speak on Sheriff Mickey Stines and Judge Mullens. The last thing we saw about that was Sheriff Stines' daughter coming out saying, why y'all doing this or whatever.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this.
There is an article on it. Hold on. I'm going to skip it ahead a little bit. I don't want to play her whole video.
She's the missing 9-year-old girl from Lompoc, California, who was last seen on October 9th near the Colorado-Utah border. Her mother, Ashley Buzzard, was arrested on Friday and charged with felony false imprisonment. Police have said the arrest is not directly related to Melodee's disappearance, but tonight, we're finally learning what it is related to, and I'm recording this on Monday, November 10th. And what we've found out is pretty surprising, and it's downright shocking. The criminal complaint accuses Ashley Buzzard, the mom, of, quote, violating the personal liberty of a man named Tyler S. Brewer. I know, it's a name that hadn't surfaced in this case before. I hadn't heard it, so I'm all ears.
So remember the last thing that we had talked about, I don't know why I did that. The last thing we had talked about was the charge that she got for false imprisonment. And we left off with, I was wondering who it was against. Well, evidently it was against somebody named Tyler. Madeline, good to see you. I'm going to pin Ashley Banfield's link to the top of the chat box. And as long as I don't forget, I will also put it in the description box when we are done. I found it very interesting, but I do still have some questions that we're going to talk about. Maybe you guys can help me figure it out. She is beautiful. And I'm praying for the day that all of them are found. Jack, Lily, Summer, Sebastian, Melodee. I hope that Melodee's safe. We talked about Ashley's mental health issues and how we thought that she might have dropped Melodee off with somebody thinking that she was protecting Melodee. The fact that she went and got a rental car, changed the plates at least twice during her trip, and they were wearing wigs, tells me that they were trying to disguise themselves. She's trying to disguise Melodee specifically to keep people from tracking them. And then they changed plates. That also tells me that you're trying to keep people from tracking you. Why? Well, they talked about her mother or aunt talked about Ashley having mental health issues and there being like rotten food in the refrigerator that Melodee, she assumed she wanted Melodee to eat or something to that effect. Just not very mentally stable. Gran, good to see you. Said, I would love to find out what happened to Summer. Me too. And you know, I've been saying about Summer and Sebastian specifically, and Jack and Lily, that if something happened involving the parents, I would think they would be arrested by now. And I do believe that, but we have this Michael Monkey Vaughan case where Stacey Wondra has been a suspect from the very beginning. I do believe I came into that case at the very end of it, or, you know, at this point of it, not much before that. But I had known that Stacey had been a suspect for a while. And I remember when the body came out from Washington County and where he talked about, can I call my mom now? Can I call my mom now? That was where he evidently confessed. And we're going to talk about that. But why did it take them so long to arrest him? And then I found out last night all the shit about Sarah. It's just I got a lot of questions.
The complaint said the crime happened last Thursday, November 6th, in Lompoc, where Ashley and Melodee live. Ashley was arrested the very next day. And as it turns out, Tyler does have something to do with Ashley's missing daughter, Melodee. Not directly, but he's definitely connected to the story. On my News Nation show, Banfield, we learned that Tyler was a friend of Ashley's and was trying to help her. He was over at her house trying to find out where little Melodee was. And that's when Ashley snapped, he said. Apparently, she told Tyler where Melodee was. And what happened next was the reason for the criminal charges of false imprisonment. And I'll explain what happened to Tyler in just a moment. But also today, we learned a lot more about Ashley's background and her upbringing in a shocking twist that honestly no one saw coming.
So I feel like it's important to know all of these things before we can try to comprehend what state of mind she would have been in and what could have happened to Melodee. I think that B was just gross. I'm tired of people claiming mental health for every little misbehavior. Make them take accountability. Even if that's the case, I'm sure she had access to programs. I don't know. I'm sure she would have. You would hope that that would be the route that they would go, but not all of them. It's like, I would hope that you would have the mental capacity to say, I can't take care of my child right now. Let me give them to a family member legally who can take care of them until I get my shit together. But she didn't.
Long before Ashley Buzzard was the tight-lipped mother of a missing 9-year-old girl, a mother now locked up on this totally bizarre false imprisonment charge. She too was a 9-year-old girl on the margins, surrounded by danger, with an unstable home life and sometimes no home at all. But despite those unhappy parallels with her own daughter, Melodee, there is one monumental difference. Ashley's mother, from all indications, did everything she could to protect her child, to keep young Ashley safe and loved, fed and clothed and educated. Exhibit A would be a newspaper story that our team on News Nation uncovered today from 1995. It was February 11th, to be exact, in the Santa Maria Times. The headline reads, "School of Hard Knocks. Educators extend a hand to the homeless." And there it is, as big as day. The curly-haired 9-year-old Ashley Buzzard sitting beside her tutor.
So this is interesting, and we're going to find out more about it. I'm not trying to have compassion for this woman, but I think that Ashley thinks she was protecting her daughter. You've got to think about the mindset that she might have been in. I'm not a counselor. I don't know her medical diagnoses at all. But if she's thinking that somebody's after Melodee or the government's trying to grab her or take her or whatever, in her mind, she is doing what's best for Melodee by not telling the cops where she's at and trying to get her to a place of safety. The problem is making Ashley understand that this is in her head and it's not real life, if that is indeed what happened. My issue also with that is that if somebody had Melodee that was trying to help Ashley, why wouldn't they have come forward yet? Because you're not going to convince me that they both are thinking the same thing, that people are after the child. Forrest, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. She's dressed well and put together, even though it's a disguise. She had a car and a place to live. You do have a point. Getting mental health isn't as easy as you'd think. I know that's right. Hey, AM, good to see you.
See it too. A total resemblance between Ashley at 9 years old and her now daughter, Melodee, at 9 years old. The story is all about Ashley's escape with her mother, Lori, from Ashley's abusive father. And before I go on, you should know that we've spoken with Ashley's mother, identified in the news story as Lori Miranda, and verified all the details. Here's what the newspaper article said. Quote, "With no job, home, or car, and $40 in her pocket, Lori Miranda and her young daughter faced the streets of Santa Maria. Originally living in Orange County, Lori Miranda, 33, said she and Ashley, 9 years old, had moved from place to place, often sleeping in hotels, to be free of Lori Miranda's husband."
That's really devastating to think about. And I'm sorry that she had to go through that. Abraham said, why would she think law enforcement would be after her child, though? There is no way to understand the actions of someone that is not mentally stable. It could be a lot of reasons, trafficking. I mean, you could, there's a lot of speculations we could make as to why she could think law enforcement could be after her child. I would not know without speaking to her. But just think about somebody that's not mentally stable. I mean, there could be a litany of reasons. If she's that delusional, she shouldn't have had Melodee, and I agree with that too. That is an issue with me, that somebody knew that there was rotten food in the refrigerator she was trying to make Melodee eat, and CPS, I think CPS might have been called and didn't take her or something to that effect. That's an issue for me. And depending on where you live, even if you know you need psych meds, you may not have the money for a psychiatrist or very expensive meds. Yep. It's good to see you, AM, and thank you for being here. I grew up with an antisocial personality mom. It's not the best to be with my mom. Mom is scary. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you went through that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know even where to begin. I would think that well, I'll wait till they get there in the video. She shouldn't have had Melodee in her care, right? Hey, Kim, good to see you. Angela said, well, maybe they did, and that's why she started keeping her away from the family. That's true. It could have been that the family was trying to get her help and she didn't want it, and so that's why she started keeping her away from the father of Melodee. But it also, since we're talking about this, did she feel like Melodee's father was abusive?
He would follow us everywhere, recalled Lori Miranda, stressing that her now ex-husband and Ashley's father was not only physically, verbally, and emotionally abusive, but also that he abused substances. He would smash our windows. He would harass us. To escape, Lori Miranda and her daughter Ashley boarded a bus in June, and after staying with a relative for a month, they came to Santa Maria. The two eventually found their way to the Good Samaritan shelter, where they remained for 30 days. Lori enrolled her daughter Ashley into school. For 2 hours after school, Ashley began and continues to participate in the Homeless Education Liaison Project. It's just remarkable if you think about it. Remember, Ashley was just 9 years old back then, the same age that her missing daughter Melodee is today. And that brings me to the photos and the video that Ashley's mother, Lori, gave News Nation exclusively of her daughter.
Hold on.
Daughter Ashley and her granddaughter Melodee together in 2020 when Melodee.
Okay, I was about to say that there's no way that was Ashley from 1995. Kalisa pointed out families have little control over mentally impaired mom, and if they already were involved in the past and tried to get Melodee, mom may be afraid they will try to take her again. And that has been rumored, or it might have even been in an article, that she was afraid that the biological paternal side of Melodee's family, which would be her dad's side, which had tried to take her before. Remember, her father, Melodee's father, died in a motorcycle accident when Melodee was 6 months old, from what's been reported. Yes, Melodee's father died when she was 6 months old from a motorcycle accident, but his family has not been able to have contact with Melodee, and they have been very concerned for her and the fact that they weren't able to see her. And again, this is Melodee's mother speaking, and these photos are from 2020. I mean, she cut off communication with everybody.
Melodee was about 4 years old. You're about to see video that Grandma Lori shot of her daughter Ashley carving a pumpkin with her granddaughter Melodee. You'll hear Grandma's voice behind the camera being playful with Melodee, while Ashley appears more detached. And frankly, what will stand out probably the most is that Ashley looks nothing like the woman we've been seeing in the surveillance tapes while renting a car and leaving with her daughter. Looks nothing like the woman that we've seen cuffed and led away from her own house. Here's the video from 5 years ago.
So Abraham said, but was that side of the family consistently and actively trying to contact the child? I don't know. I would assume that they tried for a while, and when they realized that she wasn't going to let them, they probably stopped.
Ashley and her daughter Melodee, again shot by Grandma.
What are you? Pumpkin scooper duper?
Yeah.
Silly. Ew, gross. Let's see it.
That's just a gut, silly.
It's just the guts.
So look at it. Look at it.
Look at it.
The Ashley here in these videos seems to be a lot bigger than she is now, and that would tell me she was probably on her mental health medications at this point, because for some people, myself included, my bipolar and mental health medications made me gain a lot of weight. And I take natural supplements now, but the fact that there's something going on, and from what has been described and what we know so far about Ashley, I would think that she's probably unmedicated, and seeing her here with that weight on her, looking not necessarily healthy, but more healthy than she does right now, would tell me she was probably on her medications. And the fact that she's at Grandma's house with Melodee.
Yes.
So look at it. Look at it.
Look at that. Oh my god.
Whoa. Hey, watch this,
Cindy, good to see you.
guys.
Here, let me see a picture of you. Look at me. Look at mommy. It's in there. Look at the teeth.
Hey.
We should have took all those to the store for the squirrels. The teeth. To mommy.
It is absolutely unfathomable that the woman on the left side of your screen carving the pumpkin with her daughter is the same woman on the right side of your screen walking through a rental office with her daughter. They look like two completely different people. And I'll get to the changes in just a moment. But this was day one of a 3-day road trip to and from Nebraska. Police say the last known sighting of little Melodee was October 9th near the Colorado-Utah border. Because Ashley returned to her home in Lompoc, California the next day, but without Melodee. And earlier,
And they're wearing wigs, and they changed the license plate. She's actively trying to hide from someone. And I mean, again, going back to her childhood and having to hide from her father, is that what she thinks is going on again?
here on my News Nation show Banfield, I learned some new and shocking details about the arrest of Ashley Buzzard. The victim, who is named in this case, spoke with my News Nation show and described exactly why he was at Ashley's house in the first place and what happened to him while he was there that resulted in Ashley being arrested the next day. All of that in just a moment. But first, a quick thank you from both Little Atlas and from me for supporting this channel and this podcast. And a huge thank you also to my sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. They make this podcast possible. If you've had an accident or an injury or something really bad. Okay, back to the case. Here's my conversation with my News Nation colleague, Nancy Liu. Okay, Nancy, so much to get to tonight. You got your hands on this criminal complaint just within the last hour or so. So what to you stood out that I haven't already said?
Oh, a lot stood out to us, Ashley, and we want to show everyone that criminal complaint. We just got it a short time ago from Superior Court, Santa Barbara County. It's really just less than half a page long, but we want to highlight some parts of it because it is quite revealing about what allegedly happened at this house on or around November 6th, it says, of 2020.
So this is going to go into the document that I don't know that we had gotten the document yet, but it's going to go over the document. Little Atlas, Abraham is some kind of sponsor she had. Rachel said Ashley needs help and treatment to take care of her daughter properly. That's if she's hiding her. And the problem, I think Atlas might be her dog. I apologize. Yeah, I think Atlas is her dog, not a sponsor. The dog that she was showing in the thing. I apologize for getting that wrong. I lost my train of thought. Oh, where I need to know where she left Melodee and where that person is and why they haven't come forward yet.
5 in the county of Santa Barbara, the crime of false imprisonment by violence, a felony, was committed by Ashley Buzzard, who did unlawfully violate the personal liberty of Tyler S. Brewer. Said violation being affected by violence, menace, fraud, and deceit. And you see that headline, special allegation, aggravating factors. It goes on to read, the manner in which the crime was carried out indicates planning, sophistication, and professionalism. We have learned that Ashley will be in court on Wednesday afternoon to face this felony charge. In the meantime,
And I did look 2 hours ago. It just reads that the mother of missing Melodee Buzzard is in court today on unrelated charge. Here's how we got here. I don't have any updates so far on her court appearance today, but it'll probably be to hear about bond and make that decision and get her a lawyer. A lot of you are saying, like Miss North said, I personally don't think she was hiding her because we've seen this before. Dandy said, I don't think she's alive. I hope to God that she is alive, but statistically, the probability of her being alive is not very high, unfortunately.
time she remains jailed up in the Santa Maria area. And Ashley, as you know, we have tracked down Tyler S. Brewer, and we have spoken with him. And bear with me as I'm going to refer to my notes because I want to relay what he told us accurately. Tyler Brewer tells us that he has known Ashley through a friend since 2014. He's been coming over here to check on her since all of this was publicized. He claims he was told where Melodee was dropped off and who she was left with, but he is not sharing that information with us. Tyler's also concerned that because of Ashley's mental history and recent behavior, he's not sure that what she told him is actually true.
Now, the fact that he brought that to the news is concerning for me. I would hope that he told the police that first, and if we're going to assume he did, the fact that Melodee has not been located yet is concerning. Either Ashley lied, which is entirely probable, or they haven't located her body yet. I mean, I think Ashley might have lied, but I would think that they've checked wherever she said that Melodee was by now, and we've not heard anything. So I'm still very concerned. She hasn't been missing for 9 months. It was first alleged that she could have been missing for over a year, but the last time she was seen was October 9th. I think it was the 14th possibly that she's reported or found to be missing.
November 6th, the day of the incident, he says Ashley started acting irrationally while he was here, accused him of working with police and the paternal side of the family to take Melodee away from her.
That's important. So he didn't want to share that with the news because I'm hoping he told the police and the police are going to check that area. Where's the GPS? That's a good question because usually there is a GPS. Lil Red, good to see you. I think she is alive. I think Ashley had a psychotic break from her own childhood trauma and the bipolar. See, the fact that she told him she's trying to hide her from the paternal side, and then we learned that her life, when she was that age, she was having to hide from her father. Her mother was hiding her from her father, and she's trying to hide Melodee from Melodee's father's side of the family is all very concerning. It's the same thing. She's doing the same thing with Melodee that she did that her mother did with her when she was younger. The problem is Ashley has left Melodee and is no longer in the care of Melodee, whereas Ashley's mother kept Ashley with her. She's really paranoid about them.
He says she kept shutting her eyes and making fists, and she blocked the door, preventing him from leaving. She slammed the front door shut and engaged 4 locks on that door. She did eventually let him leave, and he went right to authorities to report what happened. Now, he claims she has just mental issues. She's extremely paranoid. She's a totally different person from when they first met. And he says he's very concerned about Melodee's well-being. And he suspects Melodee may be somewhere in Utah. So based on everything that he told News Nation, there is hope that Melodee is out there and alive. So.
Okay, so this all happened, I think, Halloween. No, hold on. Let me be correct. Let me not spread misinformation right now. I think it was when they did the Halloween, when they did the search warrant. She was arrested November 7th of 2025, and it is the 12th. So if what he said was true, and they have located, if they were able to find, if what Ashley told him was true, and then he told the police where he thought Ashley claimed that Melodee was in Utah, why haven't we heard that they found her safe yet? So I'm still very concerned, even more concerned with each day that passes, and they haven't come out and said, we have located Melodee, she is safe, and she is in custody, or, you know, in the custody of CPS or family members or something to that effect. We haven't heard that yet, and it's been 5 days. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I'm thinking she wasn't there, and either Ashley lied or she's there, but they haven't located her remains. But I really want to treat this case as if she's alive, because unlike other cases, there is a good possibility she could be alive. So I want everybody to continue to look for her.
So what Tyler Brewer is telling News Nation, providing a lot of hope tonight, Ashley.
That's a wig, Anders.
Well, let's go over a little bit of that. That's just incredible information that he has unloaded. So Nancy, if I'm to understand this, he says that Ashley shared the information of where she, quote unquote, dropped off Melodee. He thinks it's in the Utah area. He will not share exactly with us what she apparently shared with him. But did he say he shared everything with the police, everything that Ashley told him?
Lovely Bones, good to see you.
Yeah, based on what we're hearing, we haven't heard everything. And again, because of her mental state and how she's been acting lately, he's not sure that what she's been saying is the truth. So it's hard to know what to believe, but, you know, he is telling us what she told him. And if it is truthful, then Melodee is out there.
My other issue with that, and we had talked about that, Rachel, the good thing about her going to jail may help her get the treatment she needs so that she'll finally realize that it's all part in her head, and she'll finally tell where Melodee is. But I don't know. Why, with all the CCTV cameras that we have today, why haven't they found where she went? Or this is her 5 minutes of fame? I don't think, considering that she probably had a psychotic break and trying to hide Melodee, I don't know that she would necessarily want 5 minutes of fame, but you could be right. It's possible speculation. I love cheesecake too, Kelly.
And did we get any further understanding of what drop off means? I mean, you don't just drop a child, you know, on a desert road. Was there some, I mean, do we know if there was some drop-off location, some person, someone to care for her? Anything more that indicates what kind of a drop-off this was?
We've been fishing for information. We want more information, and he's not quite ready to tell more information. His name just got released publicly within the last couple of hours, so he's just coming to terms with that. He's not.
Hold on. It's about to answer a question.
Sure, you know, he wants to do interviews or speak out publicly in any way. But fortunately, you know, he did speak with us, relayed that information, and we relayed as much as we could to all of you.
So you were referring to him, not her, said Angela. His 5 minutes of fame, not her 5 minutes of fame. Maybe. I would think if he wanted 5 minutes of fame, he would come out and be loud about it, be speaking, doing interviews, all of the things. So maybe not. I don't know. Abraham said professionals say that in a real psychotic break, the individual does not remember what occurred during, and that could be true too. I hope not. Spiritual conduit, good to see you. Garlic bread and angel hair pasta sounds great. It does, doesn't it? Miss North says she's probably going with the I dropped her with the Mormons, and that's not going to work though. Even Warren Jeffs would hand a high profile missing child over. Yeah. That motherfucker. Keep sweet. Oh, can't stand him. He's protecting the investigation. We don't need to know as long as the police do. Exactly. That's a big thing for me. Please keep your mouth shut and protect the investigation.
Okay, well, let's move on to the other action that happened in the house behind you. Action not only this weekend, but today. Walk me through what the neighbors all said happened there.
Well, first off, I mean, Ashley's getting packages delivered still. At the front door, there are 3 packages. One is from Amazon, one is from Kohl's, one came from Burlington, New Jersey. It looks to be some kind of clothing item. So we don't know if she's just been shopping recently or what, but in talking to the neighbors, we know that 4 investigators were here at Ashley's house. They brought a van on Saturday afternoon. It was around 2 o'clock, the neighbor says.
That's true.
The
Not all.
officers, apparently investigators, they're
Well,
dressed.
I think I had that confused. Amish wouldn't. One contains a wig. You think so, Kelly? I do too. And I never heard of a break lasting all those hours to go and come back. True. So if we don't have a break lasting for that long, then what does that mean? A manic episode lasting long enough to prepare to do this, buy the wigs, do the wigs, drive somewhere, drop the child off, change the plates in between and come back and still not say you're not telling where she's at. Wouldn't, unless it was a long psychotic break episode. I don't know.
In plain clothes. They went inside. They were there for about an hour. But according to the neighbor, they did not leave with anything. In talking with other neighbors, though, they're expressing that they're glad that Ashley is in custody and hopefully providing some answers and talking now to police. But a lot of neighbors that we talked to around here today, they don't recall seeing Melodee at all. Playing outside, walking down the sidewalk, anything, or even playing in the backyard. Neighbors have not seen Melodee at anywhere around this house. So they are curious as to what's happened to her. They are keeping hope alive that, you know, Melodee is alive and out there and will be found. So Ashley remains behind bars.
Nancy.
I think she'll continue to remain behind bars because that's where they ultimately want her until she starts talking. Maybe it's just scary. Maybe. Manic, maybe it's just scary. Dandy said TV, radio, certain books are not allowed, usually depending on the sect. Yep. I just hope they find her soon. I wondered that too. What's her actual diagnosis? Is there one? Maybe she's just a math head. Math would make it worse, but her mother talks about her having a psychotic issue. In one of the early interviews we went over. It's really weird too. What was Ashley doing with her all this time? Good question. Forrest said, I feel the trip was planned. She prepared with disguises, switched license plate. Doesn't seem to be spur of the moment behavior, in my opinion. And that's what I'm seeing too. So if we're going to talk about a psychotic break, that would be a long time for a psychotic break to last. Probably some weeks, if not months. And that's not probable. What if she ordered the packages and they are glitter bombs for the nosy? That would be interesting. No, I think it's still the wig. She was shown with short hair at one point, unless she had the wig on, but I'm not positive. I think that's the wig. The first video images we have, she has very, very short hair. Yeah, Mormons, it depends on the sex. Like the FLDS don't. But some Mormons do. They have the podcast and things like that. I just watched a documentary on boys leaving the LDS community and being discovered by the church and family. That's so scary. You know, they'll send boys away so that the girls can get married and the men can have the multiple wives. Like if there's too many boys that are born and they're coming of age to get wives, they'll find reasons to make them leave. She was last in school. Well, she was doing out of school work. So like she would get assignments. Her mom and her would pick them up and she would complete them at home. The whole reason she was reported missing was because she had not been to pick up her assignments. That, I think it happened October 14th. She was reported by the school for not having come to pick up her assignments. And then the last time she's actually seen was October 9th near the Utah border with her mother. Yeah. Gradually went crazy on TikTok. That's interesting.
Thank goodness for that. Hopefully they can squeeze her for information while she's behind bars. I do want to ask you a little bit about these images and the dichotomy of 5 years ago, the video that her mother, Lori Miranda, shared with us of Ashley with her little daughter, Melodee. It does not look at all like the Ashley we're seeing in these videos, the arrest video, the surveillance video. Did Lori Miranda say anything to you about her relationship with her daughter, Ashley, and of course, her granddaughter, Melodee? Like, what sort of information has she shed on you when you were able to speak with her?
Yeah. Lori has not spoken with Ashley since 2023. The video that we saw earlier with Melodee carving the pumpkin, that was in 2020 when Melodee was about 4 years old. And yes, Ashley looks far different. She's obviously lost a considerable amount of weight in recent years. She moved into this house about 2 years ago, and neighbors say that Ashley was larger when she first moved in. So that drastic weight loss appears to have happened like within the last year or so.
And it's got to be either math or the medication. She stopped taking medication. Sons of Perdition. Mamas definitely would watch the news for sure. They'd know this was, Mormons definitely would watch the news for sure. They would know this was going on. Yeah, I would think some of them, maybe not the LDS, but the higher ups in that community would. And if there was all of a sudden a child out of nowhere, that's why I'm concerned. Who did she might have had a psychotic break, but who did she leave Melodee with, and why haven't they came forward? If she did leave Melodee with somebody and she didn't just commit her homicide, which I pray to God hasn't happened. Lauren Matthias is fake as fuck. Lauren motherfucking Matthias. I wonder if she dropped her in the desert and just left her there. Like, why Utah specifically? Good question. It's the FLDS. The LDS and the FLDS are all different. Yes, they are different. The FLDS is the one that wears the prairie dresses and they don't watch TV and all of that. Little Jack wouldn't like touching the inside of the pumpkin. No, he wouldn't. It's almost so common to have eating disorder along with mental health issues, which could explain the weight difference. That's true. I don't know. Yeah, that was about 3 to 4 years ago, and a lot could happen in that time frame. You're absolutely correct.
But when the surveillance pictures came out of Ashley and Melodee at the car rental business, Lori, the mother, says that she did not recognize that as her daughter, because that's not how she remembers what we're seeing there. The Ashley with the pumpkin, that's what she remembers Ashley looking like.
I mean, It's like two different people. I'm looking on the screen right now. It just looks like two completely different people. Great information. Just fantastic reporting on this. Nancy Lou, thank you.
That's the latest in the Melodee Buzzard case. We'll keep.
So that's what I had on Melodee. Very concerned. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Fundamentalist and mainstream Mormons. Yep, they're both very different. Very, very concerned about Melodee. Poor thing. I pray to God she's okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, because I want to do, we'll go ahead and talk about Rebekah real quick, and then we'll talk about Sheriff Stines and Judge Mullen, and then we'll talk about Michael Monkey Vaughan. I found this article. I had seen that there was some information out on Rebekah Baptiste. We had covered this case as well, and I've been trying to bring you updates, and I'd seen something came out, but I couldn't find it after that. So I found it, I think, and I wanted to share it with you. It reads, Rural Venue Creates Hurdles for High-Profile Rebekah Baptiste Trial. You can see what this is going to say quickly. It might give us a breakdown of what the article said.
Father and his girlfriend are set to go to trial next summer for the murder of his daughter, 10-year-old Rebekah Baptiste. But finding a jury could be difficult.
Fox 10's Nicole Christine spoke with two Phoenix attorneys with no ties to this case about the challenges that come with having a high-profile trial in a rural area like Apache County. Nicole.
So it is a very high-profile case in a very rural county. Kalisa said, I've lost and gained back and forth quite a bit in a period of 8 years. Maybe people would say the same about me. I've also had toxic family members make up terrible lies to try to take my child. I'm so sorry you've been through that and had to deal with that. I wonder what people would say about me too, if I'm being honest, Kalisa. I would hope that I was never in a situation like that where my children were missing. I don't know what to say about that. Does it make it right? Not necessarily. But I need you to produce your child, ma'am. I need to know where your child is. No, Madeline, we're going over the documents. I'm going to do that at the end, or the last thing.
Yeah, John and Christina, the Rebekah Baptiste case has been making headlines since July, making this a case that a lot of Arizonans know about and have opinions on. And as we know, finding a correct jury and a full jury means finding 12 people who have unbiased opinions and have little to no knowledge of the case.
Trying a jury trial in a complex matter is always difficult, but it's particularly difficult in a rural venue like Apache County.
The murder trial for Richard Baptiste and Anicia Woods, the couple accused of killing 10-year-old Rebekah Baptiste, is already facing factors that could muddy jury selection. For one, the distance jurors may have to travel.
We have some jurors that travel 3 or 4 hours to get here to court.
Civil rights attorney Benjamin Taylor says that time commitment may be a red flag for prospective jurors.
Do you guys think that they should keep this trial in the rural setting, or do you think that they should bring it into a more well-known area? That happens, you go through the proper channels to ensure their lies don't hold up when it matters most. Yeah.
They're going to want to try to get off the jury, and it's going to be hard to even select 12 people who haven't heard about this case and who actually want to sit on the jury if they have to travel hours just to be there every single day.
Criminal defense lawyer Jason Lamb points out that added juror expenses must be factored in with rural trials.
The jurors are going to have to be reimbursed for their mileage. That's a considerable cost. On the other hand, maybe it's more economical to have jurors stay the night in a hotel so they are sequestered in the sense that we think of from television and movies.
These factors could lead to a request for a change of venue, moving the case to another county.
Quite candidly, it's rare that those motions are granted. But in a case like this, that's so high profile and that has so much notoriety, particularly in a smaller county, the judge is going to have to make a determination if this is one of those rare instances where the trial needs to take place in another county.
I don't know how many people are in Apache County, and it seems like a lot of people know them personally. I don't know if a change of venue is necessarily going to make it any different than it would be in Apache County, but I think that they do, whatever they decide, they need to make sure that Rebekah gets justice for all the pain and suffering that she endured in her short life.
Adding that it's important for jurors to take seriously their potential role, even if it may disrupt their routine.
I would ask that everybody get a chance to serve on a jury. You have to do it. Even though it might be an inconvenience, you can always ask the court for financial resources to help you if you can't afford to be on there for the whole week or for the whole month.
And both Lamb and Taylor did bring up juror questionnaires, which can be sent out ahead of time and can help narrow down the jury pool. But the Apache County judge speaking in the hearing yesterday said that they have had trouble with getting those returned by the trial date in the past. He did say, though, he plans to use them in this case. Reporting live, Nicole Christine, Fox 10 News.
So it reads, the homicide trial for Richard Baptiste and Anicia Woods, accused of the homicide of 10-year-old Rebekah Baptiste, is set for June 2nd in rural Apache County. Legal experts warn that the trial's high public profile, combined with the logistical challenges, including up to 4 hours of travel time for jurors, will make seating an impartial jury pool extremely difficult and could lead to a request for change of venue. The trial is scheduled for June 2nd in Apache County as of right now. Says trying a jury trial in a complex matter is always difficult, but talking about the rural venue, everything.
The Arizona law enforcement releasing data for their DUI arrests over Halloween, a total of
everything that we talked about in the video. I pray to God she gets justice. Arizona, yeah. It is a huge financial burden for people. Lord have mercy. That case really upsets me, especially how CPS failed her. When I was a jury, I had to pay $9.50 a day for parking, plus I was out of work. And they didn't reimburse you? They're supposed to, I think. I've never served on a jury, so I don't know. Okay, we're going to jump back over here, and Brian Enton did a video with another woman coming out and speaking about everything going on in rural Kentucky with Sheriff Stines. He has been accused of the homicide of Judge Mullens, and we know that Judge Mullens got in trouble for or was allegedly very backdoor dealings. There was a lot of women he was abusing. There was an ankle monitor lawsuit because they were having women have relations with him in order to keep the ankle monitor when they were on substances and things like that. There was just a lot of backdoor dealings and corruption going on in Kentucky. Another woman has come out to speak, and I wanted to go over that with you guys. So we'll start it about right here. I'm going to grab his link and share that real quick and put it in the description as long as I don't forget. And then we will talk about Michael Monkey Vaughan. Sheriff Stines is a big man. My employer paid me only hours I was there. Oh, wow. Nobody. Good to see you. A daily rate for your job doesn't pay you. For example, when I worked at the bank, they paid jury duty days. Oh, wow.
In some state of psychosis. I've got specific episodes on all of these elements. If you want to go back and watch them all, look in the description if you kind of want the backstory on everything that has happened here. So again, I'm going to get to the latest on what law enforcement may be doing in a bit. But first, I want to get to my new interview with a woman named Jamie Rayburn. She, again, lived in Letcher County. She was in and out of jail along with many others in her family. And she talks about their history with the judge and also with the sheriff.
How did you first meet the judge?
So
My first encounter was when I was a juvenile, which it wasn't nothing out of the ordinary because, like, I was put on like a juvenile probation and then I went to juvie. So then later on in life, when I become of age, I was on drugs and stuff, and I ended up doing some time in jail. And
That's the thing about this case in particular. Most of the women, unfortunately, abuse substances, and a lot of people, I mean, it's hard. A lot of people, the judge probably felt like they wouldn't be believed. Plus, he's the only judge in the whole town, so he had the ability to hush them, to make them be quiet by charging them. We heard about the woman who was still battling with CPS to get her children back, and she ended up doing more time in prison than she was originally supposed to do. It's a very sad case, and it's very sad that they got these women, young girls, who were on the fringes of society that, in my opinion, they felt nobody would believe, even if they did speak up about the abuse they were enduring at the hands of the judicial system out there. That's really sad. Lorianne, I hate that. I couldn't imagine.
in 2019, I went and decided to get clean and go through the ART program. And he kind of personally reached out to me within those times, like helping me, telling me he was proud and stuff. But then an indication that kind of alarmed me to know that all the rumors I heard my whole life about him is he invited me to this seminar in March of 2021, a drug seminar while I was in rehab, basically to tell a little bit of like my story. And he was just trying to, like, I guess, make me like a poster child. I don't know, but he was just trying to share my story and stuff. But he was just very weird during that. Like before, he was just very inappropriate, to me.
Like what happened? Was he calling? Yeah.
He just told me, like, if I ever needed anything, just to come to his chambers. Like, if I ever got in trouble, that I could come and talk to him. But like, us women know what that means. You know what I'm saying? And he just made me feel very uncomfortable. He just looked at me like a dog. But most of my story is my mom too. That's why I was reaching out, because my mom had a lot. She's no longer here anymore, but my mom had the sexual stuff with him and all that.
When you say she
Okay, wait a minute now. Her mother was abused by Judge Mullens, and then he turns around and abuses her daughter? Wow. Wow. That's so sad and scary at the same time. Nobody cares. Thank you for becoming a member. I greatly appreciate the support. That was so very sweet of you. I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah. He does sound like a real jerk.
He's not here. Did she pass away, or?
Yes, actually, she'd done a lot of jail time. She was actually a drug addict, but she actually passed away. She didn't even get to come home. The Letcher County jail didn't take care of her at all while she was sick. But like the beginning of like her drug, like she used to go have sex with a judge to get out of trouble. I remember she got my dad in some very big trouble. She went and had sex with the judge. When people are on drugs, they're so numb, and people don't like going to jail and stuff. I'm sure it upset her from all the drugs and all the abuse and trauma that my mom went through. Like, she was not in the right state of mind at all. She was very traumatized from a lot of stuff that has been done to her. I do know that.
Damn.
My grandparents actually raised me, so like my mom was in and out of my life a lot too when I was younger.
I don't even know what to say. My heart breaks for them.
How well known was it that, if you had sex with the judge, you could get out of things?
Let me guess, because I haven't watched it. So I'm watching this with you guys. Probably very well fucking known. Probably everybody who had lived there and grown up there knew that that was a possibility, it sounds like. It was an open secret, so to speak.
Very well known. Like every girl, like everybody knows that. Even with lawyers too. It's not just the judges. It's like a lot of people that's done this for years. Like it's been over decades that this stuff has really been going on. With my memo, yes, because like I know this sounds weird and stuff. I was needing to get an expungement, and my memo was really trying to put me up to go see Judge Mullens just to get me out of my expungement. But families know that stuff too. I don't know.
Excuse me, what? Grandma was trying to get you to go see Judge Mullens to get this expunged off your record? After knowing what he had done to her child, and now you're trying to send your grandchild to go do it? Wow. Jesus. Did she think that was the only answer? Oh my God. Like, I mean, I'm trying to keep in mind we're talking about rural Kentucky. Like, is this the only option? Because getting something expunged from your record costs a lot of money. So the only option is to let your children be abused? What the fuck? Well, I mean, you would think that, but if you're on drugs, okay, when you go into jail, you get very sick. As you know, I have a past. I got so sick that I couldn't even eat for 2 weeks. I couldn't keep nothing down. And they told me they were going to have to place me on unaliving watch if I didn't start eating something. And I didn't want to go to medical because medical, while it's good, it like you have a hospital bed and all that, there's nothing. There's no TV, there's nothing. You don't get to order canteen, you don't get to talk on the phone or anything, which I wasn't interested in doing any of that at the time, but I knew if I went to medical, I would be stuck there. So I just stayed in my cell, but I was so fucking sick. And thank God that they've made it now where if you go to jail, like in your on medications, they can put you on medications, but that's if you're already going to a clinic or something. If you're not, then you're shit out of luck. So knowing that you had the option to get out of jail by doing that, I understand why a lot of women did it. But as a family tradition, Jesus Christ. You think grandma was the original problem? How long? I mean, good God. Grandma destroyed her daughter's life, then raised her daughter's child and destroyed her as well. Place with family isn't always the best. I agree. Yeah, the feds do need to step in.
If all families do that with their kids, but I mean, like my mama was trying to get me just so I could, have a better life and stuff. Like families are aware of this stuff now. I don't know if they've ever, put them up to do stuff like that, but from my personal experience, like, yeah.
What would your mama say?
She'd just be like, "Oh, you just need to go see Kevin Mullens, and he'll fix it for you. You just need to go down there and see him." And stuff like she knew why I didn't want to go, and she knew that I could go. I really try to keep I'm only 29. I've been in a lot. Like I've lived a hard life, and I really try to not do bad anymore. So that's kind of why I never after rehab and all that. Like that's why I never really went back, because I don't really want to live like that no more.
With the drugs, like so many people, it seems like in that area have had issues with drugs. Like, how do you describe it? Like, how do people get sucked in?
Well, you got to keep in mind, Brian Hinton, that's the area, Kentucky, West Virginia, that's where they went with the OCs and all of the pain pills and were giving them out like fucking candy. My God, at 19 years old, I was on 30 milligrams of fucking oxycodone, which Percocet. I was getting 3 10 milligram Percocets prescribed to me a day at the age of 19. For what? I had nothing for, because I'd been in a bad abusive relationship. Okay. Yeah, let me, it's because I was pretty and that doctor was hitting on me is what it was. But you got to remember, Appalachia was drowned in pain pills. And that's where it starts. And then, trauma, not wanting to deal with anything, it numbs everything, but it also simultaneously, your life goes down the fucking drain and you don't realize it until it's too late. That's what the fuck happens. Forrest said this abuse was multi-generational, and like this girl says, everyone knew. You're forced to play along. If you don't, they'll cook a charge and throw you in lockup or take your kids or whatever. And it's so fucking scary that they can do that. They have the ability to do that. It is really sad, Abellis, but that ain't even half of my fucking fucked up life. But I appreciate that. And this isn't about me. This is about them. I've never had anybody do what this girl has been through. Like, my family would not have done that. They would not have been like, oh, you can go sleep with the judge. Just go do that. Absolutely not. Madeline said, this is so disheartening. Law enforcement are supposed to protect the most vulnerable, but they end up taking advantage. See, it seems to me like Mickey Stines had enough, and he put a stop to it the only way he knew how. How do you tell somebody you know what he's doing and it needs to stop when his wife is sisters with the district attorney? The lawyers are all in on, everybody's in on this shit. Who do you go to? Who do you tell? What do you do? I don't know. And I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I'm glad Mickey did do something for it. And I hope that he doesn't end up in prison for the rest of his life because of it. I know what his daughter says and what his family says, but what I also know is that he got in a fight with his wife the night before it happened, and she told him to get the fuck out of the house. And his daughter was allegedly interning for the judge. So I think there's definitely more to this, and I don't know that we'll ever know all of that either.
It's a very small area. There isn't nothing to do. You really have to have an education to even have any money there. The coal mines used to be like a lot of income for people back in the day. But I think people get sucked into it because there's nothing to do. It's very small. And, generational curses, families do it. Moms and dads there do drugs with their kids there. It's just it's crazy.
It is. And I mean, again, referring to myself, because all I can rely on is my experiences. Tell me what 19-year-old needed 10 milligram Percocet 3 times a day for a good 2 years for domestic violence abuse. I mean, granted, at some points I, was kind of fucked up, but some looking back on it now, maybe some 800 milligram ibuprofen, like my damn eye socket wasn't broken at that time or anything like that. Like, it wasn't enough to get 3 10 milligram Percocet a day for 2 years. I know that. Absolutely not. Forrest said if Mickey hadn't gone after the judge, all this would have never come out. And you're very right. You're absolutely correct on that. And I think that he's going to be a martyr because of that, but I hope it doesn't cost him the rest of his life in prison. If these people own the treatment programs they send them to, it's a corrupt system and they can't get out. Right. What do you do? What do you do? Special dispensation for opiates for years because I can't take anything else for chronic pain, but I follow doctors. Exactly. They're dangerous. They are dangerous, but I'm glad that you follow the prescriptions correctly and you just be careful with that. She's talking about grandma too. We don't know. Well, she says she didn't, but we don't know. For sure. I don't know for sure. I don't know whether I believe that she did or not. If she did, she was 17 at the time, so he was abusing her, but I don't think the judge gave a shit how old they were. Does anyone know if the drugs were coming from the same ring of folks that were involved? There's rumors and, I don't know, stories that they were, but can we prove it? No. I get that, Kim. I'm glad you were able to. Maybe it wasn't as easy. Not easy, but a lot more difficult.
I just think that it's just a lot of nothing to do there. Families just not knowing any better to do. Just nothing to do there.
What do you mean by generational curses?
I just feel like, so I'm really big in my faith. I'm not going to say like I'm a Christian. I am a Christian, but I have a bigger relationship with God than whatever. So I just think that there's a lot of generational curses there. You know, a lot of my story, my mom and dad both done drugs with me. They weren't very motherly or fatherly to me. So that's a lot of what happens back there. I just think that it just goes back, and I just think my generation is cursed a little bit. I know that sounds crazy, but that stuff is real.
So
I believe I understand what she's saying. If you go back to the 50s, 60s, your family, your grandparents would have never ever even fathomed smoking a joint or fucking doing a line with their children. Okay? Even my mother, like but you see it now, you see parents that'll do these things with their children, and it's like, why? I wouldn't. That's awful. Please don't. If you are doing it, please stop, for the love of God. But it is a lot different, because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's internet or what, but you'll see parents smoking with their children, or doing, drugs and things, and it's not good. I was thinking of somebody here on YouTube. She was doing OnlyFans with her mother, and she's a very fucked up individual, but I'm sorry, that woman is fucked up because of that kind of shit. Like that, back in the day, that would have never been even fathomed, much less actually done. It's insane. Go to the feds. That's, you would think, but are the feds involved? Are the state Kentucky police involved? Because remember, the state of Kentucky police that man who was doing at the preliminary hearing for Mickey Stines. Okay, we know that he's from the state police, right? The one that's over the case. But then you see the body cam, and Mickey's talking to him specifically like they've known each other for years and years and years, and he's saying, "Come on, man, don't take me places, don't do anything to me." I think he legitimately thought he was going to be taken out back and killed. And he knows that state of Kentucky police officer, like, it's not a regular police officer, it's like the state trooper, state highway patrol, and things like that. He knew them personally. So who is involved? Who do you go to? True Crime Butterfly said corruption that hasn't been addressed in a very long time. Yep.
People actually do drugs with their parents.
Yes.
That's insane.
You did that.
Yes.
I guess it's hard to know right from wrong then if you're doing it with
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up seeing my mom and dad do it my whole life, so I was like, well, if my mom and dad's doing that, well, it's okay for me to do it. My mama and papa did raise me right. Like, my mama and papa were very successful. They raised me with right morals, but it didn't fill the void of them being my mom and dad. So it made me very rebellious. And then I thought that, I started doing drugs when I was 16. That's when my grandmother let me start kind of having a relationship with my mom, because she knew that it was hard on me all these years without her. And
I'm sorry that the censorship has gotten the better of you, son. When we go over this, when we get done with this, we're going to talk about Michael Monkey Vaughan, but I definitely get it. And I hope to see you again. If you are the first to report it, chances are they won't believe you, and they will maybe side with the judge. And if the judge becomes aware of the allegations, they make your life even harder. And that's very true to think about as well. There's a difference. We monitored and being careful having to do. Yeah, there's a big difference for Abellis, because Abellis was in a horrific car accident. I do believe that has had an impact on her day-to-day life for the rest of her life. That's a completely different situation than a 19-year-old coming in that's in a domestic violence situation. Like, I will say that he put his hands on me pretty regularly, but there wasn't broken bones and fractured eye sockets and things like it. It's not, they should have told me to leave. They should have sent me to a psychiatrist, not fed me full of pain pills. You get what I'm saying? My situation is very different than Abellis. Abellis needs that medication, and it's helping make her life normal. I completely understand that. It's a big, big difference.
Like, I just started doing drugs with her because I thought, like, well, maybe she might love me now. I don't know. It's just weird.
What kind of drugs?
At first it started out like as drinking weed and then pills like Xanaxes, pain pills. I got on Suboxone really bad. I did abuse that at first. And then by the time I was 18, meth started coming in the area. And that thank God I didn't get on no fentanyl or anything. I went to rehab before that stuff came there. But weed, it was alcohol, weed, pills, and then meth.
Did you
and
ever
then all of it together?
Did you ever know the sheriff?
So go to the feds in another state is a good idea, but again, you got to look at the women. These are drug addict women that have criminal records as being drug addicts. Who the fuck are they going to believe? The judge in the town, the lawyer, PA, possibly the sheriff. We don't really know yet. The police department, all of these high up motherfuckers, or the girl that was just got out of jail for being on drugs, just got out of prison. Even 2-3 women that are on substances or have just gotten out of jail for being on substances. I'm here to tell you they're going to believe the judge, the DA, the Mr. Preacher Man that used to sell substances. He's involved too. All of them. You know what I mean? It's a tough place to be.
Sheriff Stines?
Yes, Mickey. Yes.
Yep.
He was actually the bailiff for like 20 years in Kevin's court. He was a very good man.
What did you think when you heard that he shot the judge?
I thought he was losing his mind. I didn't know what was going on.
I'm joined now by Allison Weiner, the producer that I've been working with on this story in Kentucky, who's been back to Kentucky.
Okay, I don't know that we'll necessarily watch her breakdown of it, but I wanted to see what that girl had to say with you guys. And as I suspected, it is organized crime. And it's just like the mob. What the fuck do you do? I mean, you got to think about this, y'all. The judge, the district attorney, the lawyers, the motherfucking preacher man, probably the banks, the sheriff's office. I mean, every position of authority they have got their hands in. And even if you did go to somebody like Sheriff Stines, what is he going to do? Like, okay, let me speak up for you and get put in prison myself probably, or get killed by them, or lose my job, lose my only way to support my family. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It was such an open secret that these girls were abused out in damn near the open. Everybody knew, just go see Judge Mullens and everything will be taken off. You'll be good to go. I mean, to the extent that everybody in the whole freaking town pretty much knew it. Like, what do you do? This corruption goes back decades. There's literal bodies, from what I've seen through some TikTok videos. There's literal bodies out there. Like, I don't know how. I would be very afraid to say something. Karen said Connie's son passed of complications of addiction. It was so hard on the family, but so hard on her. We're on the ground in our brand new season. Prush lost a few of her children before she went to see them. I'm so sorry. I've dealt with losing people too, and that's trauma I'm not ready to deal with. There's a lot of trauma there for me that I can't even begin to unpack. Thank God for that. Thank God. I found my nephew was doing substances with his minor son. Yes, I did report him, and I was alone with him. No, and just no. Exactly. You can't know. Mine was a work injury, but I'd never been on meds before. And at one time, they had me on fentanyl patches and perks for over 10 years. I'm glad you got off of them, too. That was one of the first things I started abusing was fentanyl patches. I saw Shabusiness the other day. She was in court, rolled in on some kind of Hannibal Lecter chair. Probably that bitch is crazy. And I'm glad that y'all, those of you who have unfortunately been face to face with addiction or have known somebody that has gotten away from all that, there is help out there. Please remember that. True crime said instead of helping them like they're supposed to do in these programs, they're oppressing them, and the cycle continues over and over and over and over. It's not that I don't believe her, but if that's true, why hasn't the whole town come together and come out? Because a lot of people just close their eyes and don't say anything. How do you? I still feel weird pouring myself a drink in front of my parents at their own home. I visited recently. Yeah, you should be. And I'm glad that it works for you. Some people need it and it helps, but I mean, as long as you're not abusing it, it's okay. You think that it'd be covered in another state under a whistleblower? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to get somebody to believe you first, and these people all had good reputations. Um, it's hard. In a year's time, such a scary, yeah, yeah. It's not like it used to be. And I mean, even back then, it wasn't that great. All right, so now we're going to switch gears to go over some of these videos I put out yesterday on Michael Monkey Vaughan, where I'm reading the affidavit. We're gonna discuss that, and then we'll discuss the other documents I have. Now, this video, I'll change my background. This video goes over Stacey's probable cause affidavit, but Sarah's is exactly the same. I think it's exactly the same word for word. I can pull it up and we can review it, but I do believe it's exactly the same. As a matter of fact, we'll just go ahead and I'll pull up Sarah's and we'll go over that today instead of me playing that video. But it'll take me a minute to read your comments because I'll be flipping back and forth. So sad because Stein's life is at risk and no one else is talking. Right. Yep, the good reputation is what shields them. Those that are speaking out now have had to go through so much more than the average person to overcome their addictions. Yeah. And knowing that you could just go do that to get out of jail, I mean, it would be hard for somebody that's addicted. It absolutely would. And it's a lot more to overcome. And if you don't have the money, means, or opportunity to leave, what do you do? And you tell me how many people who are addicted to substances have the means and opportunity to just get up and move. There is way too much laced on the streets. And his poor mama found him. I can't imagine. I can't imagine either. Okay, so we're going to talk about Sarah's probable cause affidavit because it's the same as Stacey's. As far as what I saw yesterday, we're going to read it just to see if anything's different. I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have watched the video or heard the video of Stacey's probable cause affidavit. So we're going to talk about Sarah. So it reads, in the state of Idaho, as the plaintiff versus Sarah A. Wondra. It's the probable cause affidavit, and it reads, I, Detective Kellner, the undersigned, being person duly sworn under oath, deposes and says that I am a police officer employed by the Fruitland Police Department, and the defendant is alleged to have committed the following crimes between the dates of approximately, this one's marked out, but I think it's like May of 2021. Let me see if it's on this one real quick. No, July 27th, 2021 through just the date of 2025. And what they alleged they did was first degree homicide, which is a felony, kidnapping in the second degree, which is also a felony, and destruction of or concealment of evidence, which is also a felony. The crimes were not committed in my presence. I believe there is probable cause to believe the defendant committed such crimes because of the following facts. And it says you must state the source of all information provided below, state what you observed and what you learned from someone else identifying that person. So this is the story of what allegedly happened. Miss Woozy said, my cousin was the principal at Fruitland Elementary for many years before she passed away a few years ago. How interesting. I'm sorry to hear that she passed away. Did she know Michael? I hope they're vindicated too. True. Yeah. Oh, this your business? Yeah. I'm so sorry, Kim. You think the feds would laugh at 50 victims? At any point, anyone involved, perpetrator or victim, could have tried something. Yes, I know it's hard to tell others about crimes that they're a victim of, because I was abused myself. I'm sorry you went through that. It is. And I have a lot of respect for you. There's still things that I can't even, not today, Satan. I can't deal with it. And I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave that shit right in that trunk in my mind where it's at. All right, so let's talk about this. On July 27th of 2021, neighbors reported seeing 5-year-old Michael Vaughan between approximately 18:15 and 18:30 hours. I want to know what time that is. Mm. 6:15. Okay. So they reported seeing him between 6:15 and 6:30 in the area of Michael's home and the neighboring residences on South Arizona and in Fruitland, Payette County, Idaho. Michael knocked on some of his neighbors' doors, attempting to play with neighbors or in their yards. Michael was told to return home by all of the neighbors that he contacted. At approximately 6:45 to 6:50, Tyler Vaughan noticed his 5-year-old son, Michael Vaughan, was missing from their home located at a redacted address in Fruitland, Payette County, Idaho. Now, let's talk about, at approximately 8:45 to 8:50, that's a 5-minute, 6:45 to 6:50, that's a 5-minute time period that he noticed that Michael was missing. And the last time he was seen was 6:30. 15 minutes, y'all. 15 minutes. That's it. That's all. 15 minutes. This child went missing in 15 minutes. I know they say a blink of an eye, but then you find out that the child hadn't been seen in a while. Like, for instance, Jack and Lily Sullivan. These things can happen in the blink of an eye, but for me, 15 minutes outside playing and the child is missing. Dylan Ellers comes to mind, and then there's always, you got to be careful going in stores and things because that's in the blink of an eye too. So Tyler Vaughan noticed that his 5-year-old son, Michael Vaughan, was missing from their home located at Redacted. Tyler began searching his home and property for Michael. Tyler called 911 to report his son missing at approximately 1921. So that would have been 7:21. And the Fruitland Police Department responded to the area. Fruitland Police Department and the FBI, along with other local agencies and volunteers, searched for Michael over several weeks and now years. Michael has never been found. Through interviews, searches, and other corroborating evidence, all of Michael's family and household members have been determined not to have any knowledge of Michael's current location, nor were they involved in Michael's disappearance. All of Michael's neighbors on Southwest 9th Street in South Arizona have also been thoroughly investigated, searched, and interviewed, and have been determined by law enforcement not to have any knowledge or involvement in Michael's disappearance. The surrounding area was searched extensively for Michael, and Michael has never been found. Lobson K9 teams searched the surrounding neighborhoods August 2nd and 3rd of 2021 using a pair of Michael's shoes for Michael's scent. Out of approximately 300 homes, K9 handler reported the dog only showed interest in one house located at Redacted in Fruitland. This is the home of Stacey and Sarah Wondra. A K9 handler also reported that K9 Banshee showed interest in the area of the corner of Meadowlark and Red Wing Street. The K9 showed interest at the intersection and then headed straight to the fence and front door of the Wondra residence. On August 2nd of 2021, K9 Banshee showed interest in the area of the Bluffs sign at the entrance of the Bluffs subdivision. K9 Banshee tracked scent down to a tree over the edge of the bluff on Southwest 8th Street and Three Rivers Way. K9 Banshee was determined to track that scent into the thorny bushes under the tree despite the thorns. A discarded child stroller was located deep in those thorny bushes. On August 5th of 2021, a pink, quote, big flyer, unquote, tricycle was located behind the Bluff sign at the Three Rivers Way and Southwest 8th Street. During a search of the same area the day prior, the tricycle was not there. Jim Smith, who lives in the Three Rivers subdivision, later reported that he had found the tricycle over the bluff under the tree next to a child stroller. Jim said he took it home to use one of the wheels for another project, but then discarded it after not removing the wheel as planned. Jim said he left it behind the bluff sign for neighborhood kids to use. Kim Blake would later report to law enforcement that she had seen the tricycle in the Wondra garage during a yard sale in the spring of 2021. Elko was able to describe the layout of the Wondra garage where she saw the tricycle on a stack of boxes. The discarded stack of boxes was still there during a later search warrant of the Wondra residence and garage. Video surveillance was gathered from security cameras in the neighborhood Michael disappeared from, as well as the neighboring neighborhoods. Michael is never seen on any of the surveillance footage that was obtained. Rachel said, Sarah is very mentally disturbed and violent. In my opinion, she played the biggest role in this. So I'm interested to know what you guys know, because I don't know everything that's happened over the past several years. We even had a trip planned to visit her and other family. When she got there, she canceled. 6-hour drive too. Interesting. Anders, they have not located Michael's body yet. No. And that could be why they waited so long, but there's quite a bit here. So it continues. Stacey Wondra is captured on surveillance footage driving a white Lexus and pulling into the parking area of the splash pad in the neighborhood off of Southwest 8th Street at 15:23 hours. So that would be 5:23? No, 3:23, I do believe. Okay, 3:23 on July 7th of 2021. Stacey is seen exiting the driver's door, walking around to the passenger side of the car, and appears to be testing the exterior door handle. Stacey then walked back around the driver's side of the vehicle where he got into the driver's seat and exited the area onto Southwest 8th Street at 15:24 hours, which was exactly 1 minute after arriving, which would be 3:24. Video surveillance shows an adult male walking in the area of Three Rivers Way at 18:08 hours, which would be 6:08, on July 27th of 2021. And the same male is captured walking in the area of the neighborhood splash pad at 6:18. The last image of the male is captured at 6:28 as he walked through the wooded area to the west back toward the area in which the Wondras live. Brandon Shirtlift was identified as in 2022 to being the person and told detectives during an interview that the surveillance video captured him as he was walking and searching for a missing child on the date that Michael disappeared. The video captures Brandon prior to Michael being reported missing. Brandon reported that he was living with the Wanderers on that date. So at 6:28, he's walking through the wooded area from the splash pad to the Wanderers' house. Michael was last seen between 6:15 and 6:30. And it's 6:28 that he's walking through the wooded area. Michael is not reported missing until 7:21, I think was 7:21. So yeah, at 6:28, he would not have been looking for Michael because he would not have known Michael was missing. Not even his dad knew at that time. It was 15 minutes after that his dad knew he was missing. Hey, Parabola. Rachel said several people have witnessed Sarah hit people with pans, and she's in prison for pistol whipping someone and had a habit of that. Really? That's interesting. Stacey said he was retrieving a can of chew but never opened the door when he pulled over. Really? It seems to me from this document that he was trying to make sure if he put a child in the car that they couldn't open the door. Now, I have heard rumors that Stacey liked to sit at the splash pad and, quote, watch the children play, unquote. And I don't know. This document seems to suggest that Sarah did the kidnapping, but for what? That's what I don't understand. Why? Sorry. Anders said Stacey has kept on talking about where Monkey is buried. He has. Remember when we went over the body cam footage from Washington County where he was asking to call his mom? That's allegedly when all this happened, which was in June of 2025. Okay. Okay. Dorothy Starkley, who lives at Redacted in Fruitland, reported on July 29th of 2021 that she saw Michael riding a big wheel tricycle at the corner of Red Wing Street and Meadowlark Avenue on July 27th of 2021, and she was either entering or leaving the neighborhood. Dorothy is seen on surveillance videos coming into the neighborhood westbound on Southwest 8th Street at 6:25 and left the neighborhood eastbound on Southwest Street at 7:25. Other than Dorothy's report, there are no reports of Michael being seen anywhere other than Southwest 9th Street and his next door neighbor's house on Arizona Avenue, the date of his disappearance. On August 1st of 2021, Fruitland Police Department contacted the residents at Redacted in Fruitland. On their initial search of the residence, they located Aiden Luciani hiding in a closet. Residents of the home on that date and on July 27th of 2021 were identified as married couple Stacey and Sarah Wondra and their sublets Brandon Shirtlift and Adrian Lucian. All four were interviewed on August 1st of 2021. Adrian was vague in his statements and wouldn't commit to a specific statement. He also refused to provide his social security number for identification confirmation. He provided Stacey's phone number as his own and concealed his real phone number from law enforcement. So they're already looking sus AF as of a couple of days after Michael went missing. And I thought of something else, but I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get to that today or not, but yeah, we do need to go over some of his YouTube interviews. We definitely should. I need to compile a list of that so we can go over them. Heck yeah. Dorothy is a pedophile, just FYI, so is her husband. Really? Holy fuck. Hey, DVD, good to see you. They are all lying liars who lie. They need to tell where Monkey is. Yeah, I hear about this. Some people that like lied, and I couldn't figure out why. Like grandparents in this situation, adults anyway, not his grandparents, but adults. It continues. Sarah reported that on July 27th of 2021, she and Stacey had slept until noon. Sarah said they left the residence around 1700 hours to tow a vehicle to Kuna. So that would have been, what, 4? No, 5. They left around 5 to tow a vehicle to Kuna. Sarah and Stacey denied they were home at 6:30 on July 27th of 2021. Cell phone data showed that Sarah, Brandon, and Aiden were co-located in Meridian, Ohio on July 27th, 2021 earlier in the day. Cell phone tower data and surveillance footage shows Sarah, Stacey, and Adrian and Brandon were in the area of their neighborhood at the time of Michael's disappearance. Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon returned to Fruitland, verified by surveillance, in Sarah's blue Toyota Corolla at 17:08 hours, which would be 5:08, only to leave again at 5:12. The Toyota then came back into the neighborhood again at 5:56. Surveillance footage shows Sarah driving a maroon GMC pickup belonging to Sarah and Stacey Wondra on July 27th of 2021. As she drove out of the neighborhood at 19:08, which would have been 6:08. No, 7:08. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I need to figure out military time. Where was I at? Okay. Stacey has been identified as the front passenger, and Brandon was in the driver's side rear passenger. Sarah, Stacey, and Brandon's phone data showed they were co-located as they left the neighborhood at 7:08 and drove to Kuna, Idaho. Adrian's phone did not provide any location data during the evening of July 27, 2021. However, Adrian took a selfie photo in the guest bathroom at the Wondra residence at 7:26. The Wondra's maroon GMC pickup truck is captured on surveillance footage returning to their Fruitland neighborhood at 23:22. at 11:22 p.m. on July 27th, pulling or towing a silver Mercedes-Benz. Following Michael's disappearance, Sarah had a distinct change in behavior. Now, this is where I started to go, what the fuck's going on here? Stacey seems to have taunted Monkey's mother. That's fucking sick. There's a lot of people out here. There's people I know or creators I've seen that had contact with Michael Vaughan's mother, and I don't know. I hope they let her get through this and grieve and leave her alone. Please leave that woman alone. Please don't be looking for exclusive interviews and all of the things. This woman just, please leave her alone. Been following since the beginning. I live in Idaho. Brandy confronted Stacey on a live panel. She's a brave woman. Yeah, but they still did the right thing and they turned them in, seeing something, saying something, or she did, no matter if she's a registered sex offender or not. You're right. Okay. It continues. Written communications between Sarah and Stacey on August 8th of 2021 was recovered from the iCloud data. Sarah told Stacey on that date she wanted to move and, quote, get out of this neighborhood and this house, unquote. Sarah also said to Stacey, quote, I liked it better when you agreed to be no one else here ever, but then you didn't want to listen to me about our sanctuary, so now we need to find another one. I need a new castle, unquote. Written communication from Sarah's phone on August 12th of 2021 indicates a falling out between Stacey and Brandon, with Brandon being kicked out of the Wondra residence. Sarah changed her phone number. Following Michael's disappearance, Sarah began to stand along the highway near Love's gas station in Ontario, Oregon, with signs stating, repent for your sins, and that the end of time was near. Now, that's bizarre to me because we've all seen the people standing outside with, signs saying the end is near, repent for your sins and things like that. For it to be somebody who could have possibly been involved in the disappearance of a child, like, that's concerning. What the fuck is going on there? Y'all, I literally, paused the recording at that point and I literally said, what the fuck?
What the fuck is going on here?
What the fuck? Why is she doing that? Because she feels guilty about what happened? That would make me think she was the one who was involved in it. More so than Stacey. Hold on, Basil is having a fit right now. Here, baby, come get it. Come this way. Come this way. Come this way. Look. Go get it. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Oh, I mean, it's weird to me. She follows what the parents want first and foremost. That's good. That's fucking weird to me. Sarah's social media posts on TikTok and Facebook also changed drastically to religion and asking for forgiveness of her sins. Pre-abduction, Sarah posted infrequently and only showed a few posts over a year's time. From January to July of 2021, Sarah made 3 posts. 2 were to ask for donations to help cats, and one that she started a new job July 11th of 2021. After Michael's abduction, Sarah's posts were very religious and spoke about repentance and forgiveness. Sarah's Facebook posts also multiplied in number post-abduction. August of 2021, Sarah made 20 posts. September of 2021, she made approximately 30. October, Sarah made approximately 202. November, Sarah made 77, and December, she made 24. So do you see how it goes, steadily up and then steadily back down after his disappearance? So, I mean, all of these things coupled together make it look like she's guilty of something. Religious delusions, just like Lori Daybell, maybe. She's looking for forgiveness. And this is one of her notebooks. She kept good notes. This is in one of her notebooks. That's interesting. Okay. Prior to Michael's abduction, Sarah had posted only approximately 11 videos on TikTok over 3 years. Following Michael's abduction, Sarah posted approximately 329 videos from September 15th of 2021 through December 24th of 2021. 3 months, she posted 329 videos. In TikTok videos Sarah posted, Sarah made, quote, testimony, unquote, statements regarding her involvement in criminal behaviors and stated that she had broken all 10 of the 10 commandments. It should be noted that, quote, thou shalt not kill, unquote, is one of the 10 commandments. See, she's feeling real motherfucking guilty about something, right? Sarah also alleged in her videos that it did not matter what sin she had committed because God had forgiven her for all of them. Michael's missing person flyer can be seen in the background of some of her videos. Now, as you guys have stated, Michael's mother has confronted Stacey and them about the abduction of her son. Michael's mother had a strong feeling that they were involved. I mean, you know, I think everybody did. And then to see this woman losing her mind, knowing that she's probably feeling very, very fucking guilty about something, and to notice that there's a missing person flyer in the background of some of her videos of your fucking child, I would lose my motherfucking shit. I would go ape shit on that bitch. I would be like, fuck no. And I would also be very upset with the police. I was like, why is she, I would be like, why is she not in jail? You know? I can't imagine what Michael's mother has been dealing with all this time. So it reads, Sarah was interviewed again by law enforcement on November 15th of 2021. Stacey was also interviewed after being confronted with the photo of her leaving the neighborhood on July 27th, 2021 at 1908 hours driving the GMC pickup. Sarah changed her story and said she was driving the GMC pickup to get Brandon's Mercedes-Benz from Kuna to tow it back to Fruitland. Sarah said the trip to Kuna to get the car had not been previously planned and that it was Stacey who wanted to go get the car that time and date. Sarah said she stopped at Southwest 8th Street in South Arizona on the way out of the neighborhood to input the address into GPS. Sarah said she drove to Redacted in Kuna, which is Brandon's mother's home. Sarah said Brandon's mother, Tina Morale, was out of town. Sarah and Tina did not allow Brandon to have people in her home. Sarah said Tina did not allow Brandon to have people in her home when she was not there. So Sarah and Stacey parked down the road, and Brandon used a back fence gate on the south side to enter Tina's residence so that her doorbell camera did not capture him there. Sarah reported that while towing the car back to Fruitland, the tow strap broke. While they were on the side of the road, Sarah reported she urinated and removed the t-shirt she was wearing in order to use it to wipe. Bitch. So it is a little different. Sarah would not provide information on what shirt she was wearing or what happened to it. Upon returning to the neighborhood, Sarah said they spoke with a pedestrian who informed them of the missing child. Sarah did not mention wearing a shirt when they spoke with the pedestrian, but previously spoke of trying to cover herself as she was standing along the roadway. Sarah said that after returning home, she and Brandon took her blue Toyota and drove around to help search for the child, again not mentioning reclothing. Look, I'm going to remind y'all of something real quick, and then I'm going to have a quick conversation with y'all. Where is it at? Hold on.
Ain't scared to get dirty, baby. Cornbread fed, we curving, baby.
Y'all, I'm country as fuck, okay? And I have pop media squat, okay? But you grab a fucking leaf. You don't strip your fucking clothes off. What the fuck? Bitch. Like, no. What the fuck? No. That's not even a good excuse. I think she took the shirt off because it had something on it. Other than that. What the fuck, bitch? That's just gross. In later interviews, Sarah stated she and Brandon went to the gas station for soda and candy prior to helping with the search. Sarah said that on that night, she drove down Southwest 9th Street for the first time and drove past Michael's home, where she saw Michael's mother crying outside. Sarah said she and Brandon went home due to the number of people already out searching. Sarah was asked about changing her phones following Michael's abduction. Sarah provided 2 reasons. Sarah said they sold their phones because she and Stacey were splitting up, and Sarah said they sold their phones because a demon told her to. Sarah was still paying on the phones that she sold. Sarah was asked about her Facebook post and provided the following responses. Quote, I literally had like a demon tell me that I needed to leave my husband. Quote, I literally deleted all of my pictures. I have no idea what my passwords are. We had a fight. My husband and I had to sell our phones, and we had to get new phones, and I can't access any of my stuff. So I do have Facebook, just don't have access to it right now. Unquote. When asked about the vehicles Sarah and Stacey have, Sarah said the GMC pickup was repossessed. Sarah said she told Stacey when they heard the repo guys were coming to take the truck, we are going to be the nicest repo they ever had today, unquote. Law enforcement was later told that the truck appeared to have been thoroughly cleaned prior to the repo. Yeah. I'm very serious. Like, I will, no, a leaf, ma'am. Make sure it's not poison ivy. Leaves of 3, leave it be. But other, nope. I'm wondering if it was bloody too. You should. They give you enough at restaurants, fast food places, and things like that, that you would think you'd have some, but whatever. Bella said, okay, ma'am, if a demon said so, you're good to go, right? I don't even know. All right. Following the interview on November 15th of 2021, Brandon reported Sarah and Stacey contacted him and told him that they were re-interviewed about Michael's abduction. Brandon said Stacey suggested Brandon come over to their place and create an alibi or write a letter on behalf of Sarah and Stacey stating that they were not involved in Michael's abduction. Tina Morale, Brandon's short-lived mother, was interviewed by law enforcement. Tina reported that Brandon's behavior changed after he lived with the Wondras. Tina explained that Brandon became more depressed and withdrawn, spending more time playing video games and smoking marijuana. Tina alleged that Brandon avoided law enforcement contact about Michael's abduction and that Brandon contacted Sarah to verify his story before he spoke with law enforcement. Tina would not tell law enforcement where Brandon was or what his phone number was at that time. Now, let's think about that. If she suspects her son has something to do with the disappearance, look, that's a hard place to be in as a parent, to know your child did something or could have possibly done something and you don't want to turn him in. But at the end of the day, you've got to turn him in. You got to. Like, if they know something, they're going to figure it out eventually anyway. It's best to just go ahead and handle it and deal with it. And if his mother had said, son, I don't know what happened, but I know something happened and you need to go talk about it, then they might have actually found Michael's body. And while he might have gotten charged, it probably would not have been as stiff of a charge as he might receive, because he would have been the one to talk first and tell them what happened. Buy him a lawyer, get him a lawyer first, and then take the lawyer and go do it. Especially if you're not the one that's mainly involved. We might have Michael's body and he might be looking at the same charges that he's going to be looking at now, or possibly reduced. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not that hard to just do the right thing. Yeah, no, we're not having any of that. Rachel said apparently the truck was spotless and their vehicles were usually full of fast food bags and garbage. Imagine that. Weird. I never sold my phone after a breakup, nor has a demon told me to sell my phone. Me either. I mean, you cut my hair. Yeah, that's something that I've done. Dye my hair, try to look different. Like, new life, new me, whatever. But the phones and all that, no. I changed my number, but not got a different phone. Brandon is currently in jail on a probation violation in Idaho. He's probably going to get charges now, too, because he didn't say anything. All right. Kay Ramsey, Sarah's mother, was interviewed and shown a picture of the tricycle. Kay claimed she found the tricycle in some bushes near the bluff a few days prior to Michael's abduction. Kay said that would be the reason her DNA would be on the tricycle. Kay said that after all of that effort, she left it at the intersection of Three Rivers Way and Southwest 8th Street. Kay was 73 years old in July of 2021. Kay Ramsey also confirmed to law enforcement that Sarah and Stacey's dog had dug holes in the backyard of the Red Wing residence. Kay reported the dog had dug up what she later determined to be the ear of a green stuffed animal. Kay said she had thrown away the stuffed ear. Now that was interesting. Kay Ramsey is alleged to have withheld information and or evidence in other criminal investigations involving Sarah in 2022. There, Kay initially concealed a firearm used in an aggravated assault in which Sarah was later convicted, and it gives that case number. So this woman is coming up with what seems to be a lie, and to the extent of hiding a firearm that her daughter used to commit a crime. Like, all of these people's parents need to be held accountable too, because they're creating false alibis and hiding weapons and all the things for their children. Just do the right thing. Like, what? I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. That sounds sus. Hey, Brady, little me. All of these people are nasty, disgusting grifters, said Kane's Nana. Did they suggest you get a new phone? What if you have an emergency? I have questions for the demons, ma'am. Right? Abraham would be asking 50 million questions, and the demon would be like, just fuck it. Keep the phone, Abraham. All right. When law enforcement met with Sarah on October 12th of 2022, Sarah said God told her he was going to help her find the boy. Sarah wrote a, quote, testimony, unquote, and said that if law enforcement read it, they would locate Michael. Sarah suggested God had forgiven Hitler, you know, that man from World War II, for his sins, and that God had redeemed Sarah for her sins. Around this time, Sarah began standing in her driveway and urinating on herself, causing the neighbors to call in for welfare checks. What the fuck? So I thought they were exactly the same, but evidently not. I'll have to change the thumbnail and let everybody know we're going over Sarah's test paperwork. What the fuck? Why is this bitch standing in the driveway pissing herself? Y'all. Like, damn. We need to call a priest? Do we need an exorcism? Kim said, I'm sorry if it triggers y'all mentioning what happened to me. I'm triggered every walking second. It helps me to talk about it. You're okay, Kim, and I'm sorry again that happened to you. Yeah, get her some Depends. What the hell? Right, like, ma'am. What the fuck? When law enforcement, I apologize. In July of 2023, Christy Kutch told detectives that in a prior conversation with Sarah before her arrest in 2022, Sarah made a statement that Stacey had been involved in the abduction of a 5-year-old boy. Christy said she made personal notes of their conversation. Christy had a jail-recorded conversation with Sarah in June of 2022, and when Sarah commented Stacey had been arrested in April of 2022, if he was charged with the kidnapping of the child. In the recording, Sarah recants her prior statement, claiming Christy misunderstood her. Christy also mentioned that Sarah's dog was digging large holes in the backyard. On November 5th of 2022 at 12:55, Stacey contacted Fruitland Police. I think that's 12:55 a.m. Stacey contacted Fruitland Police and requested an interview at the Washington County Jail. Stacey provided vague details about the events surrounding Michael's abduction. Stacey said Sarah's religious beliefs and behaviors changes started within a couple of days after Michael's abduction. In a recorded jail phone call, Stacey spoke of switched phones and or SIMS cards because he did not want law enforcement to follow or profile him. Let me try to pull, because that was the interview we looked at. I want to show that if I can pull it up. It's an hour long, but we'll at least watch some of it. This is from KTBB. I'm going to grab it and drop it in the description box. I'm going to skip it ahead. It is muted right now, but I'm going to skip it ahead a little bit. And we'll continue to go over this when we.
You cannot afford to hire a lawyer and won't understand these rights, as I've told you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hey, Detective Mullens PD, you know him? I've been talking to you a bit. They want to FaceTime you so you can give them a little more information on where this body's actually buried at, because I guess they're not finding him yet.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
I mean, because I'm going to be.
Okay.
What's in your pen? And I'm going to give you a number so you can dial in there.
I'm going to skip the phone call.
Yeah, because it's going to take him probably close to an hour to set up. Can you hear?
Hold on.
Okay. We'll get an email to come and dad, and we'll get this set up. He's going to have to download the Visit Now app. Okay. It's called Getting Out Visits. Hey, you're going to have to download an app so you can talk to him. You can't just. I mean, we can make this FaceTime happen over Ben's work phone, but the only thing is it would just be recorded on the bodycam. What's the app called? It's called Getting Out Visits. He's gonna have to go.
I'm going to skip it ahead a little bit because he's talking about contacting his parent. Okay, I'm going to skip it ahead again.
Jail's getting pretty full, man. I don't really know what happens back here too much, but I'll give you my word that I'll go talk to him right now and see. So basically, all you want to do is talk to your mom, right?
I just want to call my mom. I have minutes on her side.
Okay.
So calling her, I don't have to worry about them resetting a phone number for minutes or anything.
Okay.
I mean,
I agree.
She has a proof that it comes from her number.
Okay. Well, we'll put you back over there, and I'll talk to these guys and see what we can do for you.
Okay.
All right.
He continues to try to use the phone.
Thank you for helping us out, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. This come out of 600? Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Hold on a minute.
Oh.
Let me search the transcript.
Welcome home.
Yeah, fucking great.
Look at, I know, we got everybody and their mothers here, as you can see.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, when we talked the other night, I shared with you, look, we're putting in motion a lot of stuff, right? And see, I didn't.
Hold on. Damn, it was in the beginning. Okay.
You know him? I've been talking to you a bit. They want to FaceTime you so you can give them a little more information on where this body's actually buried at, because I guess they're not finding him yet.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
I mean, because I'm going to be.
Okay.
What's in your pen? And I'm going to give you a number so you can dial in there.
Did you get in all right?
Yeah.
I'm searching it quickly. Okay. All right.
Some master, looks like a comfortable bed is yours.
Yeah, it's the queen.
That's a nice bed. And I'll go in the other room. This one over here. That looks like a little water bed. What is that?
No, that's a queen bed as well. What's in the next room over?
This one's empty.
Nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Was there a bed in there?
There was supposed to be a California king bed in the master bedroom, in our bedroom, but I don't know what happened to it.
Okay. So you get the idea. We're going to go back and go through that. What's going on there is he's at the police department. Sarah is actually at the house at that time. The police are in the house. They arrested Sarah, and they're searching for Michael Monkey Vaughan's body. Yeah, the barber won't fix what's wrong with that dude at all, unfortunately. Okay. So, I apologize. Okay, on November 10th, 2022, Stacey again asked to speak with Fruitland police detectives. Stacey requested a, quote, deal, unquote, the same offer that was given to Sarah in the Michael Monkey Vaughan case. Stacey admitted Michael had been in his house the night of Michael's abduction. Oh, wait a minute. No, it is Sarah still, okay. Stacey admitted the tricycle had been in his garage when Kim Elko had previously described seeing it. Stacey then said that when he first saw Michael, Sarah was carrying Michael into their home. Stacey said Michael was put into a duffel bag to transport him out of their house and to Brandon's house in Kuna. Okay, why? Why did she have Michael? Why were they putting him in a duffel bag to transport him to Brandon's house in Kuna? Continuing, Stacey provided 2 reasons they stopped in the GMC at the corner of Southwest 8th Street in Southwest Arizona. 1, to put power steering fluid into the vehicle, and 2, so Brandon could check to see if Michael was still alive, because Michael was bound with duct tape and stuffed into a duffel bag that was in the bed of the truck. Sorry. Stacey reported that he did not previously report this information because he thought he would still get into trouble because he was fearful of Sarah hurting him. While describing how Michael was taped and stuffed into a duffel bag in his living room, Stacey had a physical reaction and began violently vomiting. Okay, so first of all, why are you violently vomiting just describing how the child was duct taped and put into a duffel bag? I don't think that's true. I think he's violently vomiting because he's remembering that how the child was killed. I think that is not what happened at all. I have questions. Why did they pick Michael up? What were they going to do? Like, you're going to get an explanation, their explanation in just a second, but it doesn't make sense to me. So at this point, Stacey, his wife, has brought in Michael Monkey Vaughan, and they have duct taped him and put him in a duffel bag. Okay. Hold on a minute. I gotta make sure that everything is still on. Okay, it is. Good. Okay. Following his interview with law enforcement, Stacey called his mother, Tamara Johnson, from the Washington County Jail on a video visit. Tamara asked Stacey if Michael was alive. Stacey shook his head no and said, quote, Sarah accidentally killed him, unquote. Tamara asked, quote, how, unquote. Stacey said, quote, suffocation, and went on to say they buried him in a duffel bag. After his interview and phone call to his mother, Stacey wrote an apology letter to Michael's parents and then attempted to hang himself in his jail cell, but was rescued by Washington County jail staff. See, that tells me that he had a lot more to do with this than what he's letting on. don't know why. Okay. It should be noted that during some parts of Stacey's interaction in the Washington County Jail prior to his confession and directions on where to find Michael's body, Sarah was out of custody and living back at the house on Red Ring Street as evidence of her being there when law enforcement arrived to execute the search warrant. Sarah could have had time and the ability to move any evidence from the property without Stacey's knowledge. In June of 2022, Sarah called Kay Ramsey from jail and spoke about spouses being able to testify against each other. In a recorded phone call from the Washington County Jail to Sarah, Stacey expressed concern that Sarah was going to, quote, turn on, unquote, Stacey. Sarah confirmed that Stacey was referring to Michael Vaughan. Sarah told Stacey that she had already told her attorney that she wasn't going to, quote, turn on, unquote, Stacey, and that she wasn't going to testify against Stacey. As a search warrant was executed on the residence on November 12th of 2022, Sarah Wondra, who was located in the residence, was detained. As officers read to her the search warrant, Sarah made several strange statements, saying, quote, wow, that is a lot. I definitely did not kill that boy, unquote. Quote, the Most High God already told me who did it, so, unquote. Quote, oh, wow, the Most High God just told me that Stacey was the one who killed him, and he buried him in the yard of Carson's house. She also said the Most High God told her Stacey was the one that killed him and buried him. The Most High God just told me Stacey was the one who did it. He wants me to make sure you understand that I had nothing to do with it. He said that Stacey buried him in the backyard by the shed. It was actually Stacey who harmed the boy. As officers started to search the residence, Sarah asked several times if the officers had, quote, found him yet, unquote. So they snatched him and he was deceased before dark on the same day. So they took him for nothing. Pretty much, like, I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. The fact that Stacey's violently vomiting as he's recalling the interaction, it makes me think that he hurt the boy, killed the boy, and then he died, and Stacey's remembering him dying. That's what makes people throw up most of the time. Idaho State Police and Ada County Sheriff's Office assisted with the execution of the search warrant at the Wondra residence along the 5 separate certified cadaver canines. Prior to officers digging in the backyard of the Wondra residence, cadaver canines were deployed and alerted in the backyard of the residence. A total of 5 certified cadaver canines were deployed, and all 5 alerted inside the Wondra's backyard. In the approximate area of where Stacey claimed he witnessed Sarah and Adrian bury Michael. Neither Michael nor any human remains were located during the execution of the search warrant in a dig of the Wondra's backyard. Prior to excavating the backyard, law enforcement noted there were several areas in the yard that appeared to have been filled in with dirt or resodded. Kay and Ed Ramsey reported that they had filled in areas of the yard where Sarah and Stacey's dog had dug holes. On October 13th of 2023, a follow-up interview was done with Sarah by Detective Juan Heller, the Hellener, and Chris McDonough of the Cold Case Foundation. At the mention of Michael Vaughan, Sarah had a strong emotional response and began to cry. She then said, quote, God told me he was going to help me find the boy, unquote. Sarah went on to say, quote, God forgave everybody, unquote. While Sarah Wondra was in the custody of the Fayette County Jail, she was emotionally distraught and complained about people saying she did something bad. The jailer asked her what was going on, and she described, quote, I don't know if it was him. I don't know what body I saw, unquote. When the jailer asked, quote, what body, unquote, she explained, quote, I don't know. It was in a bag. I couldn't see it, unquote. The jailer realized she was possibly talking about her case and then ended the discussion. In summation, Michael Vaughan went missing July 27th of 2021. Michael was observed by Dorothy Starkley on a tricycle near the Wondra home on the date of his abduction. The same tricycle was observed in the Wondra garage prior to the child's disappearance. Kay Ramsey, Sarah's mother, claimed to have found the tricycle down on a cliff and moved it to the entrance of the neighborhood. That would explain her DNA being on the tricycle. James Smith told law enforcement that he found the tricycle down a cliff in an area where canine Lobson tracker dog would later alert. James Smith claims he put the tricycle behind the bluff sign where it was recovered by law enforcement. A lab-sent tracker dog showed interest in the Wanderer residence. Later, cadaver dogs alerted around the Wanderer's backyard, and there appeared to be evidence of repairs done to the yard to cover up holes. Sarah Wandra's behavior changed drastically after the disappearance of Michael Vaughan. Sarah's husband, Stacey Wondra, made a confession with regard to his and Sarah's participation in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Sarah made statements that Stacey and Adrian had buried Michael and that she saw a body in a bag, and changed her version about what Michael's. Okay, hold on. Sarah made comments she believed her husband may have been involved in Michael's abduction when speaking with one of her foster mothers. Sarah also told Stacey she would, quote, wouldn't, quote, turn on him regarding Michael Vaughan. Based upon all the foregoing, your affiant believes it's enough probable cause to arrest Sarah. We're going to jump over to Stacey's because it's a little bit different. It kind of gives an alleged reason for the abduction, but I still don't understand why. She says she talked to demons. I think she is a demon. They are all lying and belong in jail. I hope not either, but we might. They moved him, yep. If someone dies accidentally, you don't just bury them, you call the authorities. Well, see, there's... Okay, so, hold on. Yeah, this is the one we want. Okay, this talks about Sarah's social media posts. They sold their vehicles, deleted, had to get new phones. Following the interview, Sarah reported Stacey, and they were re-interviewed. Tina reported behavior changed. That's about the tricycle, firearm. When law enforcement met with Sarah on October 12th, Sarah said God told her he was going to help find the baby. During the interview at the first mention of Michael, Sarah became emotional and broke down crying in front of the detectives. She wrote a testimony and said that if law enforcement would read it, they would locate Michael. Sarah suggested God had forgiven Hitler for his sins. God had redeemed Sarah for hers. Hold on. Stacey wanted a deal. Okay. Stacey then said when he first saw Michael, Sarah was carrying Michael into the home. Stacey said Michael was put into a duffel bag and transported out of their house into Brandon's house in Kuna. Stacey said Sarah was frantically trying to figure out what to do. Brandon interjected, quote, I have a duffel bag, unquote. Stacey described Michael as crying, and to prevent him from moving or making noises, Stacey described how Sarah taped Michael using duct tape. When asked who put Michael in the bag, Stacey said Brandon grabbed the bag and gave it to Sarah. Sarah picked up Michael as Aiden helped hold the sides of the bag open, and they shoved Michael in the duffel bag. Stacey described Michael as wiggling, trying to get away. Stacey said he could see Michael in the bag with his knees bent up in the fetal position. While describing and demonstrating how Michael was taped and stuffed into the duffel bag in his living room, Stacey had a physical reaction and began violently vomiting. When asked if he was vomiting because of the chewing tobacco he was using, he indicated he was throwing up because of the stress of talking about Michael. Stacey provided two reasons they stopped in the GMC at the corner of 8th Street in South Arizona and Fruitland. One, for Stacey to put power steering fluid into the vehicle, and two, said Brandon could see if Michael was still alive because Michael was bound with duct tape and stuffed into a duffel bag in the bed of the truck. Stacey said he was able to hear Michael making noises like a dull scream. Stacey said they were worried about being seen because they saw a car parked off of South Arizona. Stacey drove straight to Brandon's mother's house in Kuna, Idaho, where Brandon grabbed both bags, the duffel bag containing Michael and a backpack, went to his house by himself. Stacey said that once they arrived in Kuna, Michael was not making any more noises, and none of them had checked on Michael to verify he was still alive. Stacey said that Brandon told him he left Michael in the bag and put him in the spare room inside of his mother's house. They then towed Brandon's car back to Fruitland. Stacey said that Sarah, Brandon, and Aiden went to Kuna the next day to get Michael. The three of them brought Michael's body back to the house in Fruitland. He stated that he was inside. Brandon was, quote, on guard, unquote, and Sarah and Aiden dug the hole together. Stacey reported he did not previously report this information because he thought he would still get into trouble because he was fearful of Sarah hurting him. In an interview, Stacey stated that Michael had a stuffed animal. This part is hard to read. Yeah, it is good for him to throw up, but what is he actually remembering? What's he actually remembering to make him throw up? Child predators often commit homicide of children in the first few hours, and often during the violence of the act is common. These people are vile. See, with them talking about that he liked to sit at that splash pad and watch the children play, as if that's not fucking creepy enough. What actually happened? Why did they actually grab Michael that day? That's why they abducted Monkey. I'm wondering, Mrs. North, and we're going to talk about it. 911 is for the states. Yeah, if you need to go to call 911. Okay. Quote, this is what Stacey is saying about Michael in an interview. Quote, some sort of stuffed animal. I want to say like a dinosaur or a monkey. What I saw was a monkey was a green and looked like a green monkey, unquote. In one interview, Stacey advised a lime green monkey was a dog toy that he and Sarah gave Michael to keep him quiet while he was sitting on the couch in their living room. Additionally, Stacey stated the idea to take a child to sell for money was Adrian's and that they would each get a $10,000 cut. Stacey was asked if Sarah provided any direction throughout any part of this. Stacey said that Sarah asked him and Brandon to, quote, follow her lead, unquote, which was to, quote, take the kid, unquote. Stacey recalled that most of the conversation at that point was Sarah trying to figure out what they were going to do. Sarah had asked Brandon, where should we put the body? And Brandon was like, well, you guys can take him over to my house and we'll deal with it. And that will buy us some time. Following his interview with law enforcement, Stacey called his mother. So the original plan was to sell Michael into child trafficking and get money? Like, that still doesn't make any sense to me. None of this makes sense. Stacey throwing up talking about duct taping and putting a child in a duffel bag, which, yeah, is graphic and traumatic, but I don't think it's enough to make somebody who is sitting at a splash pad watching children play, the sick fuck, throw up. Do you know what I mean? And then to say it was because you heard you could get a $10,000 cut to sell him? That shit don't. And then what? Like, you never contacted the people you were going to sell him to? You just duct taped him and put him in a duffel bag and he died? That doesn't make any fucking sense. They still can't find his body, and I'm wondering if it's because his body would show signs of what actually happened. What I think actually happened is that Stacey hurt that child very, very badly in several ways, and I think they could have done something to hurt him, and that caused his death. It doesn't make sense the way they're describing it. Oh, we're on this one. Okay, so Stacey called his mother, told her that he died of suffocation and they buried him in a duffel bag. He wrote an apology letter. It should be noted that during part of Stacey's incarceration in the Washington County Jail prior to his confession and directions on where to find Michael's body, Sarah was out of custody, living back at the house on Red Wing Street, as evidenced by her being there when law enforcement arrived to execute the search warrant. Sarah could have had time and the ability to move evidence from the property without Stacey's knowledge. And then it talks about the other things that we have read. As a search warrant was executed on the residence on November 12th of 2022, Stacey described the exact location as to where to find Michael buried in the backyard of the residence. He instructed detectives through video chat. Sarah Wondra was located at the residence at the time and was detained, and she said all of those things. He was asked what happened to their cell phones, and he said Sarah wanted to detract attention so we're not on the radar, and that's the reason they sold the phones. When asked if there was evidence of the crimes on these phones, Stacey said there were text messages. Investigation revealed that the Wondras changed their phone approximately 3 times in a 5-month period. Stacey described purchasing SIM cards to put in a cell phone to evade law enforcement. The GMC pickup was subsequently repossessed for non-payment. Stacey then called Kim's Cars wanting the truck back or to borrow it. He also told them to, quote, hurry up and sell it, unquote. Stacey further advised that they sold the Lexus they had at the time Michael Vaughan was abducted too. Within a few weeks of Michael's disappearance, the Wandra's iCloud data revealed Stacey and Sarah searched for rental houses in other states and for financial assistance in different areas. Additionally, a photo of items boxed up was taken on July 30th of 2021 as if they were preparing to move. 3 days after Michael disappeared, they're already packing shit up like they're going to move. I'm wondering the same, Canes, Nana. Hold on a minute. I'm going to close this door. Okay. Anders said duffel bag and duct tape for a kid. Nice people. I apologize. I had to get a swallow of my Red Bull. Miss North said he's lying. They were predators and they abducted him specifically for heinous deeds to be done. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. Do we have any proof of that? Pathological liar. Yep. Do we have any proof of him doing that? Like, why do we think he is a predator? I think he's a predator because he was at the splash pad watching children play. Are there other evidences of him being a predator? And again, the bottom of this one says, in summation, Stacey confessed that the 4 members of the household, Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shurtliff, and Adrian Luciani, were all involved in the abduction and homicide of Michael Vaughan. Their home is in the neighborhood adjacent to the home where Michael lived and was last seen. The neighbor, Dorothy Starkley, saw Michael riding a tricycle near the Wandra's home at the time Michael went missing. That same tricycle was seen in a Wondra garage prior to their abduction. The tricycle was discarded outside the neighborhood off of a bluff after Michael went missing. Kay Ramsey and Sarah Wandra's mother claimed to have found it and moved it to the entrance of the neighborhood, which is refuted by the fact that another neighbor, unrelated to the case, claimed to have found it and placed it there. Kay's story also does not account for the fact that the tricycle was in the house before being discarded and how before Michael went missing. Live scent track dogs were deployed, and the only house they showed interest in was the Wondra house. The same dog showed interest in the area where Michael went missing from and the area where the tricycle was discarded. And based on the foregoing, they believed they had enough evidence to arrest Stacey and Sarah. I don't even know what to even say about that. So the prosecutor spoke. Really? He let the other roommates have sex with his wife? Are you fucking serious, Kane's Nana? What the fuck? Oh my God. So on Halloween, the Payette County prosecutor spoke and put out a letter. And it reads, Michael Vaughan case update. My office is moving forward with charges against the individuals involved in the disappearance and homicide of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan, which occurred in the summer of 2021. After a robust investigation by the Fruitland Police Department and countless assisting agencies, we have unfortunately been unable to locate Michael to recover his remains. Our foremost hope has always been to recover Michael, but delays now risk further harm to his loved ones. We believe we know the individuals involved and are committed to pursuing justice with or without Michael's recovery. The charges are only possible as a result of Fruitland's unyielding tenacity and perseverance. They have not ceased to work the case since the crime occurred, and they are continuing to search and investigate so they can bring Michael's body home. As Chief Huff had previously stated, it would be foolish to believe Fruitland PD would ever stop in their pursuit of recovering one of the most cherished members of our community, a child. I would remind the public that anyone accused of a crime by my office is entitled to the presumption of innocence, and it is this office's duty to prove that they are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I do want to say that just because that was happening doesn't mean that they killed a child, but that and several other factors could lead to us thinking that he committed the homicide of the child. He has done so many interviews. He tells stories. Okay, we're going to have to look into that. We're going to have to go back through the interviews. I would ask that the public and media be sensitive to how difficult a case like this is to surviving family members and neighbors, and ask that any efforts to speak with those involved be tempered appropriately. Cases such as these tend to thrust family members in the public eye against their will, and it is my hope that the public will respect their privacy as they weather this difficult process. And I would also reiterate that we please give them time to deal with this before you try to interview them if you are one of the channels that can interview the family. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I don't know. It's very fucked up. Okay, so here is the criminal complaint. Count 1, Part 1, homicide in the first degree. This one is for Sarah Ann Wondra, a.k.a. Sarah Ann Ramsey, a.k.a. Sarah Ann Ramsey, a.k.a. Sarah Ann Chambers. Count 1, Part 1, homicide in the first degree, which is a felony. Count 2, Part 1, kidnapping in the second degree, which is a felony. Count 3, Part 1, destruction and or altercation and or concealment of evidence, which is a felony. Counts 1 through 3, Part 2, persistent violator. So count 1, Part 1, reads that the defendant, Sarah Ann Wondra, on or about the 27th day of July 2021 in the county of Payette, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought kill and commit the homicide of Michael Vaughan, who was born in 2016, a human being, and or did willfully, unlawfully, and deliberately commit the homicide of Michael Vaughan, a human being, in the preparation of or in the attempt to perpetrate a kidnapping, all of which is contrary to Idaho codes and against the power, peace, and dignity of the state of Idaho. Count 2, Part 1, that the defendant, Sarah Ann Wondra, on or about the 27th day of July 2021 in the county of Payette, state of Idaho, did willfully and without lawful authority seize and or confine and or lead and or take and or entice away Michael Vaughan with the intent to cause him to be secretly confined and or imprisoned and or detained against his will within the state of Idaho, all of which is contrary to Idaho code, against the power, peace, and dignity of the state of Idaho. Count 3, Part 1, that the defendant, Sarah Ann Wondra, on or about the 27th day of July 2021 and the 21st day of May 2025 in the county of Payette and or state of Idaho, did willfully destroy and or alter and or conceal a thing, to wit, a body and or DNA evidence, knowing that the thing or things were about to be produced, used, or discovered as evidence in a felony investigation or inquiry authorized by law, and with the intent to prevent such evidence from being so produced, used, or discovered, all of which is contrary to the state of Idaho. And then we have her previous charges, which they are going to use. I don't know. Was friends with Amanda and her boyfriend. Set up, who knows? Interesting. Okay. So on or about the 5th day of March 2013, under the name of Sarah Ann Ramsey, the defendant was convicted of the felony attempt to commit a Class A felony robbery in the county of Multnomah, state of Oregon. Identity theft. On or about the 5th day of March 2013, under the name Sarah Ann Ramsey, the defendant was convicted of felony identity theft in the county of Multnomah, state of Oregon, in a separate case. Aggravated assault and or concealment of evidence. On or about the 6th day of October 2023, under the name of Sarah Ann Wondra, the defendant was convicted of felony aggravated assault and or concealment of evidence in the county of Payette, state of Idaho, all of which is contrary to the Idaho State Code. Stacey's is the same. Stacey James Wondra. We do get his date of birth, which is September 12th of 1992. All of his charges read the same, except for Part 2 of counts 1 through 3, which says he was previously convicted of the following felonies: issuing a check with insufficient funds on or about the 4th day of June 2020. Under the name Stacey James Wondra, the defendant was convicted of the felony of issuing a check with insufficient funds in the county of Canyon, state of Idaho. And then a false statement during firearms transaction. On or about the 4th day of April 2019, under the name of Stacey James Wondra, the defendant was convicted of the felony of false statement during firearms transaction in the federal court for the state of Montana, all of which is contrary to Idaho code and against the power, peace, and dignity of the state of Idaho. There's an interview of this woman who rented out a room to Stacey after all this went down. It's very revealing and gross as fuck. I'm gonna work on finding those this evening, and I'm gonna watch them with you guys. I need to know. I gotta know more about this. These documents I went over, these documents that I have right now are all documents I went over in the videos last night. The only thing that's different is the criminal complaint against Sarah, because I thought they were the same, but they did appear to be a little bit different. This just tells us that he had a felony warrant. Now, what's so great about this is the cops did something that I've heard about them doing that I thought was bullshit. So what happens with the police is that you could be in jail. Let's say you're in jail for stealing a candy bar, okay? And you got 120 days, right? But you had also committed this other crime in another county, okay? And you're in there and you're like, okay, I'm going to get out November 18th. And I know I'm going to get out November 18th and I'm going to be so glad to go. Well, November 18th comes and you go down and like think that you're leaving. They might even have you put all your shit up, okay? And then you go down there and then you get called to the magistrate's office and they're like, hey, here's a warrant out of this county. And it's something like, felony, grand theft auto. And you're like you're so excited thinking you're going to get to leave and go home. And then they hit you with a felony charge or a different charge. And your ass goes right back upstairs or right back wherever, or straight to a police car to be taken to the other county. So the thing about Stacey was that he was supposed to be getting out of prison and he walked out, allegedly went downstairs, and they hit him with this warrant saying basically, no, you're not going home. You're wanted on a homicide charge. So I found that interesting and think he absolutely deserves the feeling of thinking he's going home and then goes downstairs and finds out that, nope, you're going right back the fuck up there. So it says that he is a fugitive. He was identified as a fugitive and had a warrant. So basically what that means is he had a warrant out of Payette County, and even though they might have known he was in jail, he's classified as a fugitive until he's held to account for this charge. So they kept that from him and probably did not let him know that this was going on. He's going to think he's going home, and then he goes downstairs and finds out that he's got a freaking murder charge to deal with. I do have his booking details. I did watermark these, but they are on my Patreon. This one just gives us information. He's being held on a fugitive of justice warrant, and you can see how irritated he is. That photo is also in my thumbnail. He seems very irritated, and he probably was, because I guarantee he probably thought he was going home and then gets down there and is not. I think that he deserves that, if not way more, at the very least. If you go to your channel, click on edit, click the picture circle. You can pick an image in your own pictures or other sites. Yep. Yep. Okay. And then we have the initial appearance, but that's just this document is just stating that it tells him that he can file a waiver of habeas corpus, and like basically it only has to do with transporting him from the jail to the state of Idaho. Baby, go chill. Good gracious. He did look intimidated, right? Yeah, like poor baby. Suck it up and deal with it. So yeah, that's what I have on this. I'm going to work on getting all of the interviews together, try to get them in order, and see if we can't go over them tomorrow, because I need to learn more about this case. I want to know more about what exactly happened. I want to follow this case through to the end, to see them go to court and be held accountable. I'm wondering if after everything that happened, Sarah knew that it was inevitable that she was going to get caught at some point and wants to try to plead insanity, and thinks that she might have the ability to do so because there is proof that she was, doing all of this religious shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want to know exactly what happened to Michael Monkey Vaughan, and I want to know more about this case. That child deserves justice, and he deserves for the truth to be told, not some bullshit story. I agree, cowards. I think McDonough has done good material on this. Okay. I know of a couple places I'm going to definitely check out to see what information I can get. If y'all have any, feel free to email them to me, because I don't know that I'll find all of them, but I'm definitely going to try. I'm going to try to go all the way back to the beginning and start from there. True Crime Butterfly said, "Rest in heaven, sweet boy." I hope he is. But they need to admit to what actually happened, because I'm not to be graphic, but I don't think that you're thinking about duct taping him and putting him in a duffel bag and vomiting because of that. I don't believe that. I believe you're vomiting because in your head, you're remembering exactly what happened, even though your mouth is saying something different. And the thought of exactly what happened made you vomit. And the fact that we haven't located a body, and yeah, that's weird for me. I think that's because the body would tell a different story than what they're stating. That's just my opinion. Oh, thank you, Abellis. My heart goes out to him and his mother and his family. It's fucked up. It's very fucked up. You thought it was crab meat? It's funny. Justice must be served for his family. Please keep his family, as well as all the other families and all the other cases we discussed today, in your thoughts and prayers. I hope that y'all have a wonderful evening. I will definitely be back tomorrow. Y'all try to stay safe out there, and know that you are important, you are enough, you are special, and you are loved. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today, and I appreciate the support very much. You blame the pain medicine? Y'all are silly. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a safe night out there, and good night. And until tomorrow, bye.